Rochelle White. Of course, Rochelle White. Of course, Rochelle White. What else could you expect? It has to be Rochelle White. It's got to be Rochelle White. She is always number one. She is always the first one. Thank you for making it. Of course, Rochelle White. What else could you? She is always the first one. Okay, apart from Rochelle White, we have Omonike here. Anne-Marie, Oluwato Bidemi, Linus. Welcome, everyone. As you are coming in, please go ahead and share the message, share the link. Daniel Asenga, Adiola Disu, let's go ahead and share the link with our friends and go share publicly. Esther Shodia, bless you. Omonike, welcome. Go ahead and share the link, share the message. Demidenka Yuri, Privet, Dobrevesher, Mola Desert, Oyurabutu, Krasaf Shikmash. Oriyomi, welcome. Abimbola, welcome. I don't know who is going to be preaching to you guys today. Is it me or the dogs? Topsy Gift, welcome. Shao Smith. Mofelola, welcome. Ifeoma. Anastasia is here. Adesua. Meline. Alagbe Isaac. Fumi Adewusi is here. Dupa Love. Jake, okay. Well, if you have, oh, look who came. Magnus, it's been a long time since I've not seen you here. Ravel. Well, as you are coming in, please go look for the share button. It should be under your video somewhere there. And go share it. Once you've shared it, then we'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to go. Lola Shurumke. Okay, here we are. I've been talking this week about what truth is not. Because after I finish talking about what truth is not, I'm going to begin to talk about what truth is. And last week, I spoke about the 5 levels of truth. So I'm not going to go back to that again. If you did not see, if you were not with us last week, and you did not listen to that series on the 5 levels of truth, you have probably missed one of the most important informative messages or revolutionary messages of your age. Yeah, so, you know, we have it on the YouTube, Sunday Adelaide Official, and that's one of the series. If you go to the homepage, you'll be able to follow the series and then see that one of them is actually called the power and force of truth. The power and force of truth. But today, and this week, we've been talking about truth in general. And but I didn't start out just talking about what truth is not. I think what I first started with was, I think I started out by talking about what is truth, the power and force of truth, I think, yeah, the power and force of truth, right? And then after that, I moved on to talk about what truth is not, what truth is not. So today, what truth is not, I'm going to be mentioning a very important factor, what truth is not. What truth is not, the first thing we discovered was truth is not anything that works, or the fact that something works doesn't qualify it to be truth. So truth is not what works, because it could work today and it will not work tomorrow. So truth is not what works. And second one is that truth is not our feeling. It's not what feels good. Third one that we went through yesterday is that truth is not relative. It's not relative. Truth is not relative. So today, I'm going to be talking about the fact that truth is not just what we perceive with our senses. Truth is not only what you can perceive with your five senses. Your five senses can perceive some things about truth that could be true, but that does not prove that all truth could be perceived by the five senses. So truth goes beyond the five senses. So truth cannot just be perceived by five senses. So for example, some people will say, I don't believe in God. I say, why? He said, who gave birth to God? Or where is God? I've never seen God before. So what that kind of person is saying is that he belongs to the school of thought that you can only believe as reality what you see, or what you can touch, or what you could use your five senses to appreciate. That if you cannot appreciate and acknowledge something with your five senses, it doesn't exist. So that's a lazy man's solution. So that's a very cheap and a very artificial kind of understanding. That is very fake. It's not sound. It's not scientific. So because there are a lot of things out there that we cannot see. There are a lot of things there that you cannot use your five senses to perceive. In fact, your five senses are just too limited for the lot of God's creation. You know, we are not just on the earth. You need your five senses for a lot of things on earth, but even on the earth, there are a lot of things that are existing that we are actually using and we are interacting with, yet we cannot see or feel. So a lot of realities, a lot of things that are out there that we cannot use our five senses to anticipate or to appreciate. So, and there is a school of thought that believes in this. It's a philosophical school of thought. It's called empiricism or empirism. Empiricism, it says that, you know, what is real is what I can feel or what I can touch. I mean, what I can touch, what I can taste, or what I can smell, what I can hear, or what I can see. So those five organs, those five sexual organs are what I can see, what I can hear, what I can smell, what I can taste, or what I can hear, or what I can touch. So those are the five empirical evidences, they call them. Yes, empirical evidences. So those are the things I could use empirical evidences to prove. But that is easy. That is the easy part of life. But there are a lot of other things that benefit us that we cannot use empirical evidence as proof. So like oxygen, empirical evidence is not enough. Your five senses are not enough for that. So it's a school of thought that says, since I cannot see God, it means there is no God. Or since I cannot see truth, it means truth is like relative. It means everybody has their truth. That's what I say. Truth is subjective. So it is subjectivity. So if you cannot say it, it means there is no truth. But you cannot use that because it's just like saying, okay, since I cannot see oxygen, then oxygen doesn't exist. Then you die. Then you die. So you cannot use your five senses to judge what is true and what is not true. Because sometimes you'll be able to use them to judge what is true, but sometimes you'll not be able, they are not enough for you to discover what is true. So if empirical evidences were enough, then, you know, how do you discover things like justice? How do you see that? How do you touch that? You cannot touch it. But justice is needed for life, in life. How do you even love? Some people say they feel love, but you are talking about eros love or all that kind of, but what about just agape love, which is universal love? How do you express that? How do you touch that? How do you identify that? But you have to see some other things to believe that. So there are a lot of things. How do you, even beauty? We see things that are beauty, but there are a lot of beauty aspects of beauty that you cannot easily point out or feel or touch. So our senses are not enough to discover the truth. So number one, truth is not what works. Number two, truth is not what feels good, and truth is also not, it's not relative. It's not relative. It's not subjective. And then truth is not what we can sense with our five senses. In Colossians chapter 1, in Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 and 16, Colossians 1, 15 and 16, it says, "For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen." Now, how are they clearly seen if they are invisible? They are invisible yet clearly seen. That is the place of faith right there. So if we say that we only depend on empirical evidences, that's why people deny faith. People who believe in this are normally atheists or humanists, or people who just believe in evolution. People who believe that there is no God. So we say, but we can feel God. And we can not just feel God, but see God. They say, why do you see God? You are losing your mind. But no, he says here, since creation and of the world is invisible, his invisible attributes are clearly seen. How are they seen? How can you see something that is invisible? See something that is invisible? How? You see it by faith. So there is another dimension. It's another level of life. So there is a higher level of life than just relying on our five senses. There is a higher level of life than what your physical eyes can see. So this is what we are talking about here, that you can see God by your spirit mind, by your eye of faith, by your spiritual eye, the spirit eyes. Through the faith, and by faith, we see the attributes of God that are invisible in the physical. Just like, there is a different language for different world. If we are talking about intellectual world, if you are talking about physical world, we have the body. So the body is the language for the physical world. Our body is created, and the five senses in that body are given to us to be in touch and to interact with the physical world. But those are physical world. But what about intellectual world? So there must be another language for intellectual world. You cannot use your hand and feet to fix intellectual questions. So that's why we have another language for intellectual interactions. And so for intellectual world, for the mental world, you have another language. And that language instrument for you to interact intellectually is called mind. So the mind is given to us for us to have mental discussion and intellectual interaction on that level in the intellectual world. But what about spirit world? What about in the invisible world, this spirit world? What language do we have? What is the language of the spirit? Well, just like body is the language of the material world, and the mind, intellect, is the language of the mental world, so also the language of the spirit world, of the invisible world, is faith. So that's why we see God by faith. We see God's attribute by faith, even though we don't see him physically. That's why it says the just shall live by faith. So the just lives by faith, not by what he says. More so, the Bible tells us that the things that are visible are actually inferior to the things that are not visible. The Bible tells us that the things that are not visible are much more tangible than the things that are seen. So the fact that you don't see those things doesn't mean that they do not exist. But they exist, but they don't just exist. They are actually much more, tangible to a spirit man or a spiritual person than the things that are visible. So, and it says that the things that are visible, therefore, because they are inferior to the invisible things, therefore the things that are visible are temporal. But the things that are not visible are eternal, because they are so superior that they are not just more tangible, but they are everlasting, because they are in the spirit realm. So they are much more powerful, much more real than the physical things that we see. That, what conclusion do we come to as a result of that? The only logical conclusion from that means is that the physical world that we are seeing right now is temporary, because everything visible, everything physical is temporal. It means the old world that we are now, running after, fighting for, embracing, and ready to give our lives for is actually temporal. The earth is temporal. Life on earth is temporal. So no matter how good life you have or you dream of having, it is artificial to the real life that is to come. So the only life that is going to be eternal is the life that we don't yet see, is the invisible world that we are not seeing, the eternal world that we are not yet seeing. The spirit realm, the heavenly world, is much more real. And so the key to live eternally, therefore, is to exercise your faith, to be able to see the invisible world, and then to live from the invisible world to the visible. So when the Bible says that the just shall live by faith, that means you shall live by the invisible. That you really live in this kingdom when you live not by the things that are already present near you or in your life. It is only when you live by those things that you cannot see, that are not yet visible, that you really indeed live. For example, if I am Sunday Adelaja, Pastor Sunday Adelaja, and I have built the Embassy of God Church to be the biggest church in Europe, and then I'm living off of that and say, look at it, I have a big church here, or a small church, it doesn't matter, but I have my church here, right? And I'm successful, and I'm living off of that. The truth is, I'm actually dead. Because the earth is moving around the sun. So if you are living by what is visible today, you are too late. Because that is already past, in the past tense. That is already yesterday. Anything that you are seeing right now is already too late. It's already gone. Because time doesn't wait for anybody. So for you to catch up with time, you must live in the invisible. You must live in the future. So for me right now, for example, why is it that whenever you have attained some height, you want to come? I want to use you as an illustration. Tatiana is here. Tatiana, let's say you are the one, okay, let's say you bought this cloth, right? Oh, this one. This one is a really unique one. What was it? Earring. Okay. I'm sure the first time you saw that earring, you really say, wow, what a earring is mine. Wow, I must get this. I must get it. Wow, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah. Okay? Or maybe the shirt. You are all excited. Then you wore it the first time, got all the compliments. Wore it the second time, got all the compliments. Then you are looking for another one. It's done.
This is how it was actually.
Huh?
This is how it was actually.
Even if you don't say that, it is still, even if that does not happen, it's going to happen. Let me use another example. Who is married here? Who is married? Evans. King Evans, come here. Your wife is here, but maybe it's not a good example since your wife is here. But you come. We are not offending Queen Anastasia, but we need some illustration. We need some illustrations nevertheless. So this is King McDonald here. Now, when you first saw that girl, your wife,
okay.
When you first saw her, you are probably thinking, wow, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, just like her when she first saw her earring. And you thought, There is no other woman existing in the whole wide world. You know, I got it. That's my wife right there. And what you will think, because of the feelings of the moment, you will think that that feeling will last forevermore. That it will not ever diminish ever. And that you will never quarrel with her. You will never have disagreement. And that you will always be in love the way you were before you married. That is what everybody thought. In fact, sometimes in the church here, when I'm teaching my young people and my men, that, and even the women, that, you know what? That thing you are feeling, you will do good if it lasts for you 3 years. You are doing very well. If it lasts for 3 years, you are a record holder. For some people, it's gone after 3 months. You know what comes in after that? It's called reality. That's why people divorce. But why did they marry in the first place if they never? I tell you, they never plan to divorce. Nobody ever planned to divorce. But they don't realize that the what do you call it? Trust, the passion and the love, that passion, that energy that you had initially when you are in love, you know, is just temporary. But that must be replaced by principles and decisions, determination and principles. So when the emotion will go. But so what we are saying is that the excitement that we feel because of what we have today, if you are just going to live off of that, you are not going to survive. If Mr. McDonald were to depend only on those feelings or that passion that was there in the beginning, and only was looking forward to that as the sustaining, as love, as real love, what happens then when the passion goes? What happens then when the emotions disappear? What happens then when that energy, that, you know, that passion, that energy of seeing her every minute, thinking only about her, talking to her every second, you not even be able to eat, you know, all that. Where does that go to? It has to go. Because if it doesn't go, then you will not live by faith. That you must see something invisible, something more tangible than that beautiful girl you are seeing in the body. The body doesn't keep you with a woman. You must see something more precious than that. Okay. So you must see, okay, what keeps the marriage together after the passion has gone are the invisible qualities and attributes that you keep on going back to. So the emotion will not be there, but the attributes. Okay, for example, I said, if I lose passport, I will never marry again. If I, you know, why? Because I can't just imagine trying to get all those qualities and attributes from, you know, it's just going to be a mess for me. And I mean, I don't have enough years anymore to gather all those things that she has been able to, you know, come up with, and all the things I see in her. I mean, years are not enough. So those qualities now are what you live for. But when you are younger, you are thinking you are living for the emotion. But now, when you are older and you'll be married, you see the emotions disappear. There's some other content that are not visible. Even she gets older, so the body doesn't remain the same as well. The beauty doesn't remain the same. So all the physical things you thought you married for, you know what happened to them? Gone with the wind. That is why, in the real sense, nobody actually believes in empiricism. Nobody really believes in empiricism. We only all believe in truth. Because empiricism, if you just believe in that senses, feelings, I tell you, so many times you will not have feelings when you are married. The feelings will not always be there, but the understanding, the invisible qualities Those qualities that you cannot see. It's not the body, it's not the hand, it's not the breast, it's not the head, it's not the leg. But they are just invisible. Those are the things that last. So that's what the Bible says. The physical things that we see, they are gone. They don't last. So that beautiful guy, the thing you are seeing, the beautiful thing you are seeing, is gone. Just a matter of time, yeah. All things that are visible, they are temporal. It could take 2 months before it goes, or 2 years. 3 months or 3 years, but it's going to be gone. That's why when you are married, don't just marry for the visible things. Look for some invisible qualities that you can, I mean, I'm not saying not tangible, not physically visible, but in your eye of faith, you can say. So those qualities that you are seeing behind the visible, behind the beauty, they are the thing that will sustain when all the beautiful qualities and everything is disappeared. So those are things that hold family together eventually. And so they're saying you are living by faith anyway. The same thing with life. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. You helped me. You helped me. No. I hope I didn't rock any boat. I was careful. I tried my best. Queen Anastasia. No, I didn't rock any boat. I thought I tried my best. Now, let me give you another example. The just shall live by faith. What does that mean? Okay, you want to be the example this time. Okay, good. I thought I was going to look for somebody, but it's okay. You're okay. Let's say you are having a good business right now, Tatiana, that is doing well, bringing you in maybe $100,000 a month or a year or $1 million a year. And the business is so well, it's doing well. I mean, you are satisfied. It's enough for you, right? So you are doing well. But if you are just going to be living off of that business, and you are just going to be doing that business, going through the process, and going to work every day and doing the same thing, going through the routine, soon you will discover that the excitement will disappear. The joy will be gone. You will be happy for some time, just like with the earring, the same. Because man is not meant to live by the physical. And the empirical evidences and the empirical senses that God has given unto us, they are only there for us to anticipate and appreciate our surroundings, but not to be lived by. All of us, either Christian or non-Christian, we are all supposed to live by faith, not by empirical evidences or senses. So the example is this: if you, no matter how successful you are, even if things are going on for you, and you are just living off of that thing that's going on for you, you are already living in the past. But what does it mean that you are living in the past? Why is that bad for you? That's bad for you because you lose the excitement. Because if you're only doing and going through the routine of what you have already accomplished 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you have already done it, it means that you are not looking forward to something. And if you are not looking forward to anything, there is no hope. To live without hope is deadly by itself. And then if you are not looking forward to creating something new in the future, you are not living by faith. It means that you are living without hope, you are living without faith. And those are two of the three most important virtues in life. The three most important virtues in life are love, faith, and hope. And for you to be living for today and in the physical is to deprive yourself of 2 out of 3 most important qualities of life. And where there is no faith and there is no hope, let me tell you, there is no love also. So you are a dead living. You are a living dead. But how is it that we are meant to live, Tatiana? How are we meant to live then? You are only living, Tatiana, when having built that 1 million business and you are doing well, but the ability to see the next step, something that will come later. Nobody is seeing it out of your workers. They think you got a good business, or your relatives, everybody think, oh, she's got it made. Everything is doing well. She's got it made. But you are dying inside of you without seeing the next step. It is only when you are seeing what next after this business, or what next stage, what is the next department I must open, what is the next, customers I must get, what are the next, height I must achieve. When you are seeing that in your mind, nobody is saying it yet, but you are seeing it in your mind, that is faith. And those are the things that last. So you are actually living from the energy that is in the future that you are yet to create. It is the energy of the future that is sustaining you today. So it is those vision, that understanding, that picture that you have in your mind about the next stage of the business that you are going to build, about the next thing that is coming in your life, that is propelling you. It is your motto. It is your energy. It is your fuel that is fueling your existence today. Because you are seeing tomorrow, you have the energy to live today. That is why the just lives only by the things he has not seen yet, by the things that he has not yet done, by the things that he has not yet brought to pass, by the things that he has not yet created. But he is seeing it, and because he is seeing that, he is having the energy to now get to work and be working right now today to create what he is seeing and nobody else is seeing. That is where he's bringing the energy from. So he's now creating it and bringing it into the physical manifestation, what nobody else has seen. Then he has achieved another milestone. Then after that milestone, he satisfies him for 2 or 3 years. Then it goes away again. Then you have to put another milestone in the invisible realm. That is the energy of life. Can anybody remember this? That once you saw a cloth, or a house, or a car, and it was your dream car. Have you ever heard those terms? Dream car? That's before you buy it. That's before you buy it. That's why they have them come in series. So, but the world might not be able to explain it. They might not be able to know the logic behind it. Even though they are saying they believe in empirical evidences, empirical differences. They don't believe in faith. They don't believe in truth. But every one of them live by truth only. And all of them live only by faith. Even though they are saying they don't believe in it. But when you study their actions, you will see that why are they doing the series? Because they are giving you another expectation. They are creating faith in the future for you. And so you are now having another desire and aspiration for the new version of it that is coming in the future. So that energy is propelling you and giving you life today. Otherwise you are dying. When there are no expectations, when there are no hope, when there are no faith, when there are nothing you are seeing ahead, you are actually dying. You might be dead 25 years ago and you only go to your grave when you are 75, but you are already dead. Because if you are not aspiring and you are not living by the invisible, all of us will live by the invisible. I spoke to a young man here today. I spoke to a young man here today. I had a talk with a young man here today, here somewhere. And I said, I heard some rumors about you. He said, well, it's not totally a rumor. I just got engaged. It's not totally a rumor. So he got engaged. You know what engagement means? It means you found something. Because the Bible says that he that finds a good wife finds a good thing. So what does that give you? Engagement must give you energy. Because you are looking forward to form a family. That's what love does for you. So love creates anticipation in you. And that anticipation of the invisible future family that's coming up, of the invisible home and of the invisible motion of life together. So that expectation, the invisible expectation and the invisible family that's to come, the invisible common life together, is that invisible that replaces the visible. And it's those things that we live for. And that's why the invisible is, when you are engaged, it gives you some energy. That's why whenever you are in love, you have undescribable energy. Why? Because you are looking into the future. The future is fueling you today. Oh, wow. So that is the truth right there. And that is faith. Truth and faith are the same. And we all live by faith and we all live by truth, but not by senses. So it is the future, invisible future, that gives you that energy, and that is what you feel. And you say you are in love and you feel it in your senses. Oh. So the just shall live by faith means anybody that doesn't want to die. Because, for example, I spoke to Pastor Derek today and he said, Pastor, but you are always having energy. The reason why I'm always having energy is not because I'm doing sports or I'm fit or something, but mostly is because I am always seeing something ahead of me. Something invincible. I live in fact, let me tell you the truth. My wife will tell you this, and everybody that really knows me well, I don't live in today. I'm around people all the time. If you notice, I'm around people all the time, laughing and taking photographs and embracing people and joking and preaching and teaching. Like I'm talking right now. But you think I'm living for today? I'm living here now? I don't live in the today. I'm not here. I'm always living in the future. That is my secret. I never even spend a day in the today. I'm always living in the future. That's where the energy is coming from. I am getting my fuel from the invisible future, from the invisible things that I'm constantly seeing. I'm constantly coming up with some invisible reality that nobody else sees. So that is energizing me, that is fueling me and giving me the energy. So when people say, Pastor, you're always active and energetic, I am getting that energy not from what I'm doing today or what I have done now or what I'm doing now, but I'm getting that energy, that fuel from some invisible things, from some invisible information, from some invisible realities that to me is much more real than what you are talking about. In fact, I could be talking to you here today. I could be talking to you, joking and laughing and even writing books and doing things like that. But in my spirit, man, I am living in the future long time. I'm always bringing to reality and manifestation the future that nobody else is seeing yet. And that's the propeller of the energy. So if you don't have enough energy yet, that is where you get your energy from. Learn to live in the future. Right now, before I used to live 25 years in the future from where I was. So I started doing this when I was 33. So from 30 years old. From 30 years old, I started living 20 years ahead. 20 years ahead, 50. I was seeing myself in 50, when I would be 50, and I had planned all the program, and I knew exactly what step and everything. I started living this 50 when I was 30. Now that I'm 50, I am looking 300 years ahead. I'm always living the future. So people say, why are you writing? How could you write so many books? Even the topics people that I don't remember, Douglas, of the books. Because I'm looking in the future. I'm bringing them from the future. The energy is coming from the future. I'm here in Ukraine, but I'm talking about going to renovate Nigeria. But that is not, for me, going to Nigeria to bring reformation is not even future anymore. Because that is just the future in the next 10 years or 20 years. That's not even the future for me anymore. What I'm going to do when I go to Nigeria is for the sake of the 300 years that I'm saying, and 500 years that I'm saying. So I'm not even living 10 years, 20 years as mine. That is not my reality anymore. That reality, I've already passed it. So the ability to live far in the future goes beyond and is superior to empirical senses. So that is the truth. The truth is invisible, yes. The truth might not be visible to the whole world, but the truth, once it's visible to you, that truth will come to manifestation. That truth will become a reality. Some people say, Pastor, why are you not doing it in Ukraine here? Why are you not more doing church? If you keep on doing church, when you are doing church, the church was full of people, crowd, and things like that. I said, because I've already done it. It's past. That was the dream I had when I was 27. And you want me to come back there and be living for as a mega church pastor when the dream that I've already left behind 25 years ago. You want me to go back 25 years ago and live for that? I'm laying foundation and I'm living another life, a life of 200 years ago. You are going to do different things. If I stay there, I'm dying. So people might not understand what you are doing. They want you to go back to your past because they like that past with you. But they don't know that they are sending you back to death. But real life is in the invisible. So when we talk about what truth is not the empirical evidences, the empirical senses, the things that we can sense in our five senses. No, that is actually not the truth. It's not life. Life really begins. You begin to live life and true life when you live by the invisible. Any country lives like that. That is why countries have plans. They have GDP growth plan. They have national gross national product growth projections. When they talk about economical projections, financial projections, that is talking about the invisible future. And when they are talking about the invisible future, they are talking about actually what the Bible says, the just shall live by faith. They are having plans for 10 years, 20 years ahead for their country, for the economy. They are actually living by the biblical reality that you only live when you live and get your energy from the future. Why are they saying, what plans do we have for the children? Why are they planning cities? Have you ever had city planning? They plan city. Oh, there will be bridge in that place in the next 10 years. Oh, there will be another road in that place in the next 25 years. Oh, there will be schools in that area. If you don't live in the future like that, everything will be a mess. For example, you didn't plan for population growth. You didn't plan for school in that area. You didn't plan for other subdivision in the city. You didn't plan for hospital. You didn't plan for anything. You are just saying, but we have one hospital in that city. We have one road in the whole country. By the time the future comes, you just overwhelm you. You are dead. The country will be dead. Everything, infrastructure will collapse. The road will not be able to cope with the cars because you didn't plan for different more roads. I mean, the schools will not be able to cope with the kids because everybody is giving birth every day and you didn't plan for it. There will be crisis. People will be, demonstrating. People will be, there will be political crisis. They will vote out the political party. They will say you are not competent. They will say you are supposed to think. Why did we elect you? Everything comes to a standstill when you live only by the physical things you can see right now. But when you live by the empirical evidences, you die. Life stops. Everything ceases to exist. You only live today and for the future because you live by the truth. The truth is not the things that we see today. The truth is not today. The truth is not the empirical things that we can touch and feel and smell and taste and all that. Because if you just rely on that, because you cannot taste the future with your tongue. You cannot touch the future with your hand. You cannot touch the future. You cannot see the future with your eyes. You cannot see the future, hear the future with your ear. All these things are invisible. That is the truth. So when you now say you come from the school of thought that the only reality are the reality of the things that you can touch and feel and sense and say, you are not telling the truth, because the reality is that you plan for your children to be born. Your wife is pregnant, or she's not even pregnant, but you got married, but you have planned for children. You plan to have children. And then your wife says, I'm pregnant. Yet nothing is visible. But you don't see that child. You can't touch that child, but you know that child is there. What is that? The just shall live by faith. It is the future. That's why you even marry. In fact, if you say, I don't believe in marriage, okay, that's why you slept with the lady, because you want a child. Because everybody is living by faith. Don't let anybody fool you that they are atheists, or they are atheists, or agnostic, or whatever. Nobody is an atheist at the end of the day. By the time you break it down the way I'm breaking it down now, truth is that everybody is a believer. The truth is that everybody lives by faith. And the truth is that everybody abides by the principles of God. The laws of nature are built into us. They are built into nature. They are built into life itself. You cannot break it. Because if you try to ignore the laws the laws of the kingdom, you will not live. If you try to ignore the laws, not just of nature, of the kingdom, the laws of the kingdom function by nature itself. It functions in nature, and within nature is built into every cell of your body. You cannot deny God. Nobody can really deny God, because God's laws, God's truth, God's principles, they are built in every one of us. That's the only we function by the laws of God. Okay, like for example, I said, people say we don't believe, we only believe what we see. Okay, you only believe what you see. The things that I see, they don't exist. Okay, good for you. If they don't exist, that is not the truth. I'll tell you that you live by the fact that there are invisible things exist. All of you live like that. That's why you marry, because you believe that things that have not existed yet, a child will come out of your relationship with your. Why? Where is that coming from? Why did you do it? Where is that concept even that there will ever be a child? Why? Where is that coming from? That's coming from faith. That is coming from expectation. That is the truth. All of us are believers. And that's why you marry, because you believed. That's why you know you have a child, because you believe. You don't see that child yet, but you believe. That's why you work, because you know they will pay you at the end of the salary, at the end of the month. You don't have that yet. That's why you plan for your future. That's why you go to school, so because you want to get a better job. That's why you. The whole future is about, the whole life, every day is living by the principles of God. By the principles of God. Thank you, Tatiana. So, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. Invisible God, we see him. We saw him in Christ, but Christ is no more here. So where is invisible God? We see him by faith. For by him all things were created, that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible. So what do we do with the invisible? You believe. You live by faith. That's the truth. So truth is not just based on things that are visible. Whether thrones or dominions, where are dominions and thrones? They are there, but nobody says them. You say they don't exist? Well, and principalities and powers, you say they don't exist? Well, you don't see them, but they're there. All things were created through him and for him. So we believe, we know they are there by faith. We know God is there by faith. We know that the thrones are there by faith. We know heaven is there by faith. Because just like you know that your child is there in that child, in that wife, body, one way or the other. I read Colossians 1. I read Colossians 1, 15 to 16 right now. Colossians 1, 15 to 16. But actually, in the beginning, I was reading Romans 1:20. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, things that are not seen, invisible attributes are clearly seen. Amazing. How are they clearly seen? By faith. Invisible attributes are clearly seen by faith, just like all the examples I've given, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So everything seen, visible and invisible, they make God tangible and real to us. That's the truth. So truth is not based only on what it is that we see. Let me give you another scripture. Then I would like to call anyone of you to come forward and tell me what you are getting from this. 2 Corinthians 4:18. That's what I've been quoting online. While we do not look at the things which are seen, we don't live by those things anymore, but at the things which are not seen. Okay? For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So 5 senses, they are good, but they only are given to us to operate and relate and fellowship and interact with the earth. But apart from the physical world, I would say the body is given for the physical world. The 5 senses are given to interact and relate with the physical world, right? But apart from the physical world, we have another world, the intellectual world. The intellectual world, or the mental world, we are given intellect for that. We are given our mind to relate. That's the language that we are given to relate, to talk with each other intellectually. So that is another language for another word. That's another dimension, the dimension of the mind. And we use intellect for that. Then the third language is the dimension of the spirit, things that you don't see. What is the language of the dimension of the spirit? Faith. Just like you have faith that your child, that you will get married. You have faith you are going to have a child. You have faith for that. You have faith that you go to school. When you leave home today, that you get to your work today. You will not stop on the way. You will not. You have faith for that. That's faith. Those are invisible things. But the greatest life and the best of life is what I just told you. Learn. If you really want to live, everybody, the truth is, learn to project yourself into the future. I have learned to do that. And I started first by projecting myself into 20 years. Then I began to project myself into 25 years and built a system under it. And my life began to produce product because I began to bring product out of that future. Then after that, I started projecting myself into 100 years into the future. Now, I've projected myself and put, structure in place for the next 300 years after I'm dead. And now I'm working on 500 years into the future. Learn to make your spirit so tangible. Learn to make your spirit man so real, more real. For me, right now, my future, my spirit man, the invisible world is much more real than the physical, all of you that I'm seeing right here. My future, that invisible world, that invisible future into the 300 years is much more real than some of the things that I'm seeing with the physical eye. So learn to project your spirit man. Learn to develop your spirit man to the extent that you are so clear. You have clarity in the invisible. Learn to make your spirit big enough and sharp enough. Learn to develop the sharpness of the spirit so that the reality of the future that you are seeing will actually be much more superior to all other things that people are worried. That's why you never see me worried or fear or intimidated or ashamed or or broken-hearted or concerned by anything that's wrong, because I'm not here. I live. I've traveled far. I've thrown myself into the adventure of the future. And I'm living out of there. And that is my reality. You are only seeing me here into today. But in the real sense, I've projected myself inside. I've, thrown myself far over there. That's why things that are happening here today don't bother me anymore. They don't affect me because I'm not here. My reality, my spirit man is not here. And that is the real life. The just shall live like that, shall live by faith. The faith in the future, in the invisible future that is supposed to bring to the reality of today and make them manifest it. And that's where the energy for life comes from. That is the source of energy. That is the source of inspiration, and that is the source of creativity and creation as a whole. So thank you, everyone. Anybody wants to share some stories or want to tell me what you are getting? I want you people that are watching right now to share your story with me. I mean, not your story. What are you getting from this message? What do you think you are hearing? What are you getting from here? So write your story or write your feelings or write your testimonies. While you are writing that, I would like to call on people who are here. If you will not come by yourself, me, I will call you. If you are not going to call willingly, voluntarily, then I'm going to command all of you to come and stand behind me. So I'm going to count to 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then all of you are going to come in. All of you come. Stand up, everybody. If you don't stand up to come right now, I'll call the security to come and come and stand. You are in trouble. It's you people who cause it. And if you will not talk by free will, I will also find a way of making you to talk. Come and stand. Come and. We have to stand here at the back. At the back, yes.
So HMT.
So HMT is beginning. In HMT, everybody has to stand if they don't act. So who is talking first?
Okay, I will start.
Okay, bend down so that they will see your face.
Yes, it's very deep to say just something about this. The topic which Pastor is raising right now.
You have to speak louder. I don't hear
It's
you.
too deep to understand it from the
First time.
first time. Everything that we are seeing right now, for example, this chair and even Pastor, it's already sorry.
I will be gone in the next 50 years.
Pastor.
I will not be here, and you too, maybe. Who knows?
Yes, I mean, these people, they was in God's mind thousands of years ago.
Yes.
So He planned us, He created us already, and in His mind we were there. Okay, so everything that we are seeing right now, it's already gone. It's already gone.
Yes.
This chair, for example, this chair or this shirt, it was real when one woman, and maybe it was a man, he started to plan. Okay, I want to create these ones. I want to do something new, or even this beautiful thing from which we were started. They was real when this woman, she making a handmade things. When she said, okay, I want to open my own business, and she actually started. This is what she's doing. So everything that we are hearing right now, and even here, now I'm talking, yes, but before
it's in the past already.
Yes, before I talked, I thought something. This is very quickly, but we don't see this. But actually, it's already past. And as you say, Pastor, righteous lives by faith. It means that if it's not by faith, it's not living at all. You are living only.
You are existing.
It's existing. This is how depression comes.
Yes.
This is how depression comes. If someone is saying that, okay, I don't know why I'm living, I'm going to this work over and over again, and
routine.
Every day, yes, routine. And if this is because he don't see the future. If you don't see the future, you're already gone. You're already dead. You're already, finished. So which is the way out? The way out is to...
You know how people deal with that?
Yes.
They begin to look for boyfriend
okay.
or girlfriend, but they don't know that it's also in the past as soon as they get it. Or if they look for money, but they don't know that as soon as they get that money, it's already in the past. Also, it stops satisfying you. The only thing that will satisfy you in life is to live for the invisible and by the invisible. It's only when you live by the future. In fact, life comes to you when you live by the future. But once you are living, okay, women fall into this trap a lot. They say, I have children. Now I'm okay. I have 2 kids. I've done what I needed to do in life. I have 3 kids. I have a husband. Then they are the most unhappy people in creation. They are frustrated. They are depressed. That's why when they go to pension, they go on pension, then they are dying. You begin to die. You only live, either you are young or not. Why are the kids who are in primary school and secondary school, why are they more happy than us? Because they have a future. They know they have to go to the primary 2, primary 3, then after that, after secondary school, then they have to go to university. The future is what is giving them life. They are more alive because there is a future before them, and they are bringing for that future through you. They go to college, then they go to university, then they get a job, then they have that future is what is making them to have more life. But once you don't have that anymore, the future has stopped, then you begin to die. That's why 40% of the world is in depression.
And this is what we call to live inside out. Inside out.
Yeah.
We don't. This is not a living to live from out to inside. The way to live is only this way. So you must to see. Okay, I want to achieve this one or this one. And this is why since we are achieving, they are disappointing us. So when we get in birth or we are getting
you have children, then they disappoint you. Yeah.
Yes, and we get marriage, and next day I say, okay, what have I done? I would see this face over and over again. I had my bed all the time. You know, I could sleep like a human being, and you know, and I need. This is why.
No, somebody is Alexander Bondaruk saying. So now I can understand how does Jesus see my today's life 1,000, 2,000 years ago by this same principle.
Yes.
When he was going to die for us, he saw through the future, just like I am seeing through 300 years now.
Yes, Alex, and this is exactly why Jesus had a power to go to the cross, to decide to go to the cross, to decide to do this.
He saw the future.
This kind of steps. Excuse me. It was very hard. It was very painful. It's because he felt all pain in this earth. You know, all sicknesses, all everything, and to have energy to go to the cross. You must to see all them good, all this human being, you know, fine, doing fine, to not go to the hell, you know. This is how he lived, and he showed us an example how to do this.
Good. Now you can sit. Who wants to sit next?
I agree with Tatiana, really, that this is so deep. You really have to digest it first to really understand, because I think most of us, we live in the present, and this
Maybe that's why you are attached to things.
That is the truth.
Because some people ask me, Julie, why is it that you are going to leave your church and go to Africa? I mean, you work for this thing all your life, but it's not my future. It's not my life anymore. It's my past. So if you are attached to things or to people, it means you are not attached to the invisible world. Some people are attached to church. Some people are attached to members. If you see the way pastors cry when their members leave, it's tragic. It's tragic. Some people are attached to their wives or husband. Why? Because they don't have a future to be attached to. Because they don't have a future, they are trying to save themselves from depression.
Yeah. So what I was thinking about was that we actually start off living for the future as children, you know, just as you have said. And as children, we have so many dreams. You want to become this, you want to become that. We look forward to school, like you have said. But the problem or the tragic thing is really that we have society that kills those dreams. It kills the dreams, and this actually kills us. So we die, young people, thinking that we, you know, all that we need are the things that are temporary, all the things that are tangible.
I need to get a husband, a wife, a car, a child, and then I will leave. Exactly. No. Exactly. You are living by thinking about the things in the future and bringing them here. That's your life. All these things will give you an illusion until you get disappointed.
Yes. And this made me think about what Jesus said when he said, you have to become like little children, you know, if you want to enter the kingdom of God. It somehow made me think of it because, yes, there are many other things, many other lessons that you get from this verse. But I'm also thinking that as a child, to live by the future. And if he says that, it's because you become an adult and you start living by what you eat, what you drink, what you're going to wear, and all of these things. And Jesus is telling us that this is not the way to live. It is death, actually. So this really made me think about going back to becoming a child.
Now you can understand Jesus. That until you become like a child, you cannot inherit the future, the kingdom of God.
Hello, everyone on the platform.
My name is.
My name is Heidi.
Heidi Peter.
Doctor, I sincerely want to thank you for this truth that you have been exposing to us. For this truth that you have been exposing to us. And one of the things that today's message is doing in our life is to give life to some people that society has caged them, and maybe they have given up on life, and they think that there is no more hope for their life. This broadcast this evening is to give you life and to give you hope, because the Bible says the just shall live by faith. We are the sons of God. We're supposed to bring the invincible nature of God into this earth. We're supposed to bring the invisible technologies into this earth. We're supposed to bring invisible things that is more than our physical eyes to this earth.
Yes.
That is my passion. I always say that churches are the problem of this earth, because they have not given, they have not developed, they have not equipped the sons of God to have this faith that will bring enormous energy, enormous things that are inside of us. Like our God is potential, God is truth. The truth is invalid. It is not outdated. It's always up to date every day. So every one of us, as we are the children of God, we carry this truth, and this evidence is that what is in us is greater than things that are in the world. As it is written that greater is he that is in the world.
That is in us.
Is in us than he that is in the world. So if you are maybe 40 years, maybe you think that life, you have given up on life. Abraham was 70 years old and 75 before he discovered purpose, how to live for the future. I want you to start living for the future. I want you to start living for the future, because if you don't live up for the future, you are dying. Our life, we are supposed to bring truth into the reality so that we affect this earth by kingdom principles. So HMT has begun, and it has begun for good, and for good.
You spoke about Abraham, very good example. God created and painted the future for him, and that's why he acted and moved away from his future. If you really see in future, if you are not living in illusion, but if you are really seeing the future, you will act it out. Faith, that's why faith without works is dead. When it is really faith, you will really act. If you really believe what you are saying, there is no way you will not act. In fact, it is that faith that gives you energy to begin to do something. But if you say you are just dreaming, like motivational speakers talk, they talk about future, have a vision. You need to have a vision. Just like it's a vision, it's just an agenda. But you don't have faith in it. It's just a picture. You're just drawing pictures. You're just dreaming. You are just a dreamer. But if it is faith, we are talking about faith now. If it is faith, you have faith in that future that you are saying. It is the faith that you have that propels you, gives you so much energy that nobody will believe you. You will have obstacles. In fact, it is that faith that will make you to go against the whole world. It is that faith that will make you to go against obstacles. It is that faith that will say everybody will be stopping you, you will be fighting them. It is that faith that doesn't make you not to care for whoever is against you. It is that faith that makes you to go and fight a one-man war, because you believe in the future that you are saying. If it is faith in the future, you will act.
When I was 8 years old, there is this picture that I saw. I was so young, I cannot explain to anybody. When I traveled to Belarus, the first place that I went to go and do shopping, I remember the picture I had when I was 8 years old. Those pictures was trapped by religion. Those pictures was trapped by society. Those pictures was trapped and marked by friends. Those pictures was caged by my environment. But God preserved me and took me to Belarus so that I can reconnect with my dream. I am charging every one of you. Live your life the life of the child that you used to see when you were young. You never too young. You can go back again in your spirit, man. That is why your spirit is never old. Amen. That is why God is never old. Amen. You have never old. Your spirit has never old. Go back to that little kid that you have this big dreams that you used to talk about. You talk about how you want to change the world. You talk about how you want to contribute to the society. You talk about how you want to help people. You talk about how you want to live this good life of God. You talk about so much how you want to lead people.
This is the good life. Live your future and bring it to pass.
So, Doctor, thank you for this message.
Beautiful exhortation. Beautiful work.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anastasia.
Queen Anastasia doesn't like to talk. Immediately a message is preached. But today, because you people refuse to stand,
I don't like to
she's now forced to come on and talk.
because I'm a deep thinker and I really process things before I talk. But a couple of points or thoughts come to my mind. Number one, this is
I'm sorry, ma.
Okay.
While you people are watching and waiting to listen to Queen Anastasia, please, my request for you and to you is that please go ahead and write your own opinion. I'm going to try to read your opinions. So go ahead and write your opinion, okay? What are you experiencing? What are you hearing? And what do you think you are seeing, you are feeling, you are getting?
Okay, so number one, this is a hard teaching because you will not hear this. I've never heard this before.
But everybody talks about vision everywhere.
Yeah, but it's just vision. It's not. It has no foundation. It has no substance. So, I just want to speak to those of you who may be struggling when you hear these messages. You're not strange. You're not odd. There's nothing wrong with you if you're struggling to grasp this new concept. So, number one, they are new.
Little louder. They are saying
so
you should speak
they are
louder.
new. It is new. It is revolutionary, but it is concrete. That's not the first person. Number two, understand that you are in the school of righteousness. You are being trained by Daddy God, like I like to call him, or to others God. You're being trained. Your mind is being schooled in the things of the Spirit. I just want to make this point very clear. You're being trained by God. There is a paradigm shift going on in all of us. And paradigm shifts are not easy because when you're, for example, I've been trained in a certain way for 30 years to think a certain way. I've been taught in different school of thoughts, in the church. So it's not easy. So I just understand that this is the heart of the Father. Daddy God doesn't want you to live by your five senses. He doesn't want you to be the norm. He wants us to see like he sees. He wants to be seen in the future now to be like the norm. Why? So that the world can see who Daddy God is.
That's right.
So that
because Daddy God himself
yes,
is invisible.
He's invisible.
And the only way to see and interact with him is by this same faith that we are talking about.
Yes.
The same faith it takes you to see your future.
Yes.
It's the same faith it takes you to see Daddy God and talk to him and interact with him. If you cannot put this faith into operation, you cannot see God. Mm-hmm. You can have religion.
Yeah.
You can go to church. You can be in the choir. You can speak in tongues. Mm-hmm. But you are not having fellowship with the Father. Mm-hmm. You need this faith to even relate and interact with Father God on daily basis. Yeah. That is where a personal relationship starts. Yeah. To see the invisible. You see, in that 2 Corinthians chapter 4:18, it says, as we look, how can you look when there is not this visible? Yeah. As we look unto things which are not, but they are not seen. How can you, what do you look at? You only look where it's something to look at. When you can see them. But when you look, you have to, that takes training of your spirit man.
Yes.
So your spirit man, you look. As if it's there. You look at television, you look. Mm-hmm. You look at the things that are not seen. That takes the working of the spirit man and faith. And that's how we know God. And that's why we come closer to God, by learning to look into the invisible.
Yeah, so we are being trained by God. We are having a serious paradigm shift. I don't know, for those of you out there, how long you've been a Christian, but for me, I've been trained in a certain way. And so I understand that this is the heartbeat of God. This is a heartbeat for his children. If there's anything you want to grasp, this is his cry. Because, I mean, most of us have been Christians for a long time, but where is the fruit? Where is the fruit?
Okay.
Where is it? I mean, how do people see God?
Wow, beautiful.
Or how do they see God? All they see is religion. I have
because they are only operating by the visible reality.
Yes.
Church, choir, pastor, preaching, messages. So they are not living by the invisible.
They're not. They're not.
And if you don't live by the invisible, there is nothing to bring to reality.
There's nothing.
You're only going through the motions.
There's nothing. And so this really, really means a lot to Daddy God. And I just want to encourage all of us to really listen to these messages time and time again. So it becomes us. I mean, I need to sit down and honestly to meditate on it, because you definitely don't get it the first time. So that's mine to do with walking by faith.
Thank you, Queen Anastasia McDonald.
Hello, everyone. This is Irene. When Pastor was speaking, what came to my mind was the reason why we are, and my sister just mentioned that as well, why we are as a church not very relevant. Because we are stuck. We are kind of like in a cycle. And we are not getting the new. One of the characteristics of God is
it's new every day.
Creativity. And for us to be able to create, creativity is bringing about new things. And these new things, we get them from the eternal realm. We get them from the spiritual realm.
That is right.
And if we're not
and
able
it's
to...
limitless in the spirit realm.
That's right. If we're not able to access that realm, then we are unable to bring into the now, the new. And that makes us live a life that is very dull. And that's why we are very irrelevant. So this is what really came to my mind.
Well said. Well put together.
And so I'm just thinking, I'm sitting there, and as Pastor was saying, I'm thinking, I've really got to work on developing my spiritual senses. Something that God showed me once, it's just about, give you an example, about worship. Worship songs that we sing. These songs go outdated. And the Lord He showed me that these songs actually come from the spirit realm. So when you access the spirit realm, you get songs from there.
Yes.
And sometimes we carry on singing some songs that are completely outdated. And once I traveled to the United States and I listened to a song that somebody wrote, and I was saying, who is singing my song? Just to realize that a song that I had accessed from the spirit realm, but because I didn't take the time to produce it and put it on a CD, the Lord gave it to somebody else. And I understood that these things come from eternity. And so if we are really going to be ahead, we've got to be living by the Spirit, not by the night.
Beautiful.
Hello, everyone. This is Lola Shoronke. And I tell you, for me, this word, I really need to take time to digest it. But I will tell you a few things ministered to me. One of them was that I needed to master developing my spirit man. And, as we are to be led by the Spirit, we also need to develop that spiritual part of us to the highest level so that we can have this communication, these truths, these knowledge revealed unto us so we can have fruits on the earth. Another curious thing to me that was pretty interesting was when Pastor Sunday mentioned that the earth goes round the sun. So we have daytime and then we have nighttime. It's like the day's gone. So that's why things get old pretty quickly. It just dawned on me that, whoa. As soon as the day's gone, it's whatever
it's
happened
gone.
there
is
is
gone.
old. Never lived in that concept before. And now I choose to live that way.
Then the other thing I want to share with you is that when I talk to my husband, every day I talk to my husband, I say, Pastor Sunday is not here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Pastor Sunday is not here.
Yeah.
But the question is, but where is he? I said, Pastor Sunday, he's not here anymore. Pastor Sunday is not here.
I'm not.
You know, and so for me, the answer was, oh, okay, he's thinking about what he's going to do in Nigeria. But today, I found that he's way even, he's beyond that. But I'm really, really happy that I noticed that he is really not here. Now I'm beginning to understand where we are supposed to be as Christians.
We are not supposed to be here as well.
We are supposed to be in the future all the time, day by day. And so I'm absolutely excited to work on this, to develop this, to learn more of it.
It's just like me now, going to run every morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm not running for today. I'm fit now, I'm okay. But I'm preparing for when I'll be 70 and 80 years old, so that the bones and the muscles will be strong enough to sustain me then.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just I'm looking forward to really being able to exercise this, learn more about it. And I'm just excited about the fruits that will come out of exercising this. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
That is the cake McDonald's.
Indeed, the Bible says, deep calleth unto deep. Because sitting there, I was just wondering, where is Dr. Sunday going with this message? But then, just like lightning, it just struck me that I have made a discovery. I don't know what the scientists are doing, but then it just struck me that I have found the cause for depression. Not only the cause, but the solution to it also. But one thing I know is, or which most pharmacists say, is antidepressants actually worsen the scenario. And I'm thinking, this is the reason for depression, and this is the solution. And I also saw a book for the solution. So I'd like to say a very big thank you.
What book now?
The Cause and Solution of Depression.
Beautiful.
It just hits me, and I'm thinking, wow. People go through depression.
That's another book right there.
Exactly.
Giving birth to.
People go through depression. I've been there before. I know my cousin he's been going through depression for about 20 years or more.
And that you just saw the cause and
it just hits me that this is the reason why,
and the solution.
And the solution. So whoever you are, wherever you are, as our brother said, we have to live for the future. Because I realize of a truth, the moment you stop living for the future and you live for today, that's when depression comes in. So we thank DSA very much. We are encouraged. But then what I would say to everyone is, it's a message you need to listen to over and over again. Thank you.
I have to come real low for this one.
I said I spoke. You remember I said I spoke to a young man.
So
that got engaged.
Yes, I did. So my name is Philip Isaacs. Pastor Sunday, I think one of the great things that I learned today, or really reinforced, was, I have to, if I want something in the future, then I have to see it and I have to work towards it. If I allowed myself to only believe that truth is what I can see, feel, hear, touch now today, then I would never have the things that I have now. Even if it's just, like, for example, the engagement ring, I didn't have the money, I didn't have anything, but I saw it. I saw what it looked like, and that gave me energy to go and put in extra work at a job. It gave me energy to do all kinds of things. Even today, I got off the plane, I'm jet lagged, but I saw my meeting with you today, and that gave me energy. It gave me, I got this joy. And so I can sit here and be here and not be tired, but absorb what I'm hearing. And another big thing is, you said when kids, when they're children, they have all this future in front of them. That's where they get their energy from. When I was a kid, I had so much energy, and then I grew up as a child, and I got made fun of quite a lot. And so my experiences, I was living from those experiences of being made fun of. I was living from those experiences and that low self-confidence. And I would remain in that and not look to my future. But then when I saw what was ahead,
those experiences and those attacks were actually to block you away from your future.
Yes.
And then to block you away from that energy.
Yes.
And from that reality of your tomorrow.
Exactly.
And then to fix you for today.
Yes.
And if you are fixated for today, you are fixated in the future. That's why depression and all those things.
That's exactly. And one of the things I hear when people are depressed is that they don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
They have nothing to live for. It's that they have no motivation. But so I used to, live for the past. I wanted to resurrect good feelings again, of the past, and missing out on my future, missing out on what I could have by focusing on what's the next 5 years, what's the next 10 years. So it really reinforced that belief system. Thank you.
That is an apostle of the future right there. But this is the present day apostle. Pastor Derek is in the house.
Good to see everybody. Well, you can see me. I can't really see you. But Pastor Sunday, another incredible message. Wow. It needs to be listened to again and again. You know what I really took from this is I began to understand what endurance is. That you can only endure if you have something set in front of you to see. And it says that for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross. And I began to understand even your endurance. I used to fly here back and forth and say, how is he still laughing? His mood has not changed despite all circumstances changing, and he's living in another place. And I began to understand endurance requires you to see something. And I was reminded, Pastor, of a story of a people in a prison camp. And they did a study on those that died, those that didn't get out, and those that did get out. And the study was shocking because it showed that those few, very few, who actually lived to get out of that prison camp were the ones who had all one thing in common. It was that they saw their future having Christmas with family. They saw their future life, even though everything was speaking against it regarding their senses, their poverty, their pain, their slavery, their imprisonment. Everything was speaking the opposite, but they saw something. And it also brought to my mind this message, Pastor. I began to understand the great cloud of witnesses.
Yes.
These people are people who saw something. They even left and are in heaven having not obtained the full promise, but they are witnesses because they saw.
Had seen it.
That's it. They saw something. These are the great cloud. I thought they were just people cheering us on to keep going. But they're actually seers. They're people who saw the future. Thank you, Pastor.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you, sir.
Hello, family. My name is Efrain.
Efrain Soto.
Yes, Efrain Soto. Well, what I got from this very powerful teaching today from Pastor Sunday is when he was talking about that he's not here, he's in 25 years ahead. Well, putting that principle, I'm gone now. Okay. But what I would like to say is, for instance, in certain societies, people say, I did my best. And even teachers, pastors, God's servants, they teach that. You did your best, don't worry, you are fine. But if we go to Genesis chapter 1, God says, be fruitful, subdue the earth, and be fruitful and multiply, which is a very strong and powerful message that we cannot stay where we are. We have to look for the future based on what God gave us. In addition, when he developed or he revealed this vision to Abraham, it was something before Abraham, beyond Abraham's life. It was for the eternity. It was not for the earth age or for the society's age. It is beyond that. And he was faithful with that, and he got it. So we have been equipped by God to fulfill his will in that sense as well. And in this case, what we have to do is not just having our vision, personal vision, beyond these 20 or 25 years is really beyond our generations, because we have children, we have kids, and we have to teach them how to think in this way, not in the way that society does, because they are really losing power, losing vision, and losing their life. But it's more important losing what God is giving us.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Brilliant.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I think that this teaching today is life's greatest secret. In so many ways, Dr. Stanley started with the senses, with the 5 senses, and how the 5 senses is not only what you know as the truth when you feel them, but went on to talk about even futuristic things, and how the things that we see and we do now no longer exist. As we're doing them, they're gone, they're dead, they're gone. And I just think that this teaching personally liberates me. It gives me so much power. It empowers me to be human, to be the best that I can be, to be God's like, God's image of God. Because even if you see somebody that you think that this is their attitude, they're this way, you can hope and you can believe, you can have faith that they can be better than what you see now, what you can see of them. So it helps relationship. And you know, somebody else already talked about people that are in concentration camp. Not only that, it's proven medically as well that if you're ill or you have a terminal illness, those who can see the future and they can hope for the future, those are the people that survive terminal illness. So this says a lot. And it even says a lot if you can really think and watch this again and meditate. Well, maybe not meditate, but you know, look over it over and over again. Even some of us that goes to church for miracles, you know that once that miracle has happened, is dead. Even that time is in the past, is dead. So this helps you to look forward to the future, to act. You know, for me, faith is now an action. It's not something that I think about. It's something that I know I can believe in, I can create, and it would come to pass. And it is coming to pass. I'm creating new things. So I'm not waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow is now waiting for me to create tomorrow. So I'm really grateful for this. Thank you.
No, but you said life's greatest secret. What makes you have to substantiate that?
Yes, it is life's greatest secret. If you listen to it right from the beginning, you would understand that it starts from, yes, God has given us the senses. You have those senses, but those senses are now tools for you to create those future. They're not there for you to just feel. You know, one of the biggest lies that we've been told.
They are not there for you to just perceive the present.
No, it's
because
not for
the present is the past.
Yes. So it's not for the present. It's tools for you to create those future, for you to recognize them when it comes and then create more. You know, one of the biggest lies that we've been told is like seeing is believing. You know, so if you go by the site where they tell you that seeing is believing, seeing is not believing. Seeing is when it's already done.
It's already in the past.
It's already gone. You know,
like Mrs. Shoruke said, once the day passes, it's gone.
It's gone. You know. So it's gone. All those congregation, all the things that we go to church to do is gone as soon as we've done them. So what you need to start planning for is the future. So really, the secret is that you can start to invent now. You can start to dream. You can start to create the future. So the future is not now that you're living. Your friends are not the people that you're seeing. Your friends are the people that you would see in the future. So even though I'm seeing Dr. Sunday right now, is the Sunday that is being created, that he's creating, living from the inside out. Even though you're seeing me now, I'm gone now. The next one that you're going to see is the true me, is the truth. So it's not one that is gone. It's not this last few seconds that I've been talking. I have gone. That is dead. It's the future of what you will see in the future that's me.
But what makes you to think it is the greatest?
Because if you have this understanding, this understanding, you can truly live. You can truly be who you're supposed to be. You can truly be strong. All this depression, illnesses, anything that you may have that may be negative, that you see in reality, you will not hold on to it. Even the things that you have as possession will not be important to you. Everything will be about the future. It will be about what you're creating. It wouldn't be about what you see right now. You wouldn't even be sad if somebody did something to you, because you know that there's something greater is to come. It's not what is happening right now. So that's a secret, because if you have that knowledge, how can you not live? You know?
So if I am to make a book or write a book out of this, what should it be called? Live for the future? Or live in the future?
Yeah.
Or live from the future?
The truth of the future.
Life begins in the future or something.
I have another book that's saying life starts tomorrow.
Let the future
No.
fuel you.
Huh?
Let the future fuel you.
Let the future fool you.
And who
You
said
don't
life
like that?
starts tomorrow? No, sorry.
That's okay.
Life starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, the one about tomorrow, I think it's...
Life starts tomorrow.
Yeah, because tomorrow never comes, really.
Yeah. And that is the future.
Yes,
Life starts
that's
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
You like that?
Yes.
Then you have to write Caronis about that.
Okay.
Life starts tomorrow.
Okay. So we need to, just in conclusion for me, I think that we need to watch this again. You know, try to embed this in your life, in your living, in your soul. Because if you have this understanding, nothing would even upset you, because you know that you're creating a future. You are yourself. You are creating. Your life is not now. Everything that you're doing right now is gone. Is dead. So it's what you're going to do and what you're creating to do. You know, think about God. Think about the beginning. Let there be this, and those things were. You know, and like somebody said already here, that God sees the future and he creates us for the future, not for the present moment that is gone and it's dusted. It's for the future, and that's how we ought to live as well. We ought to live 200-300 years, not even now, you know. I know Dr. Sunday always says that he's living 300 years. And
but you are always saying you couldn't understand what that meant.
No, I couldn't understand.
Now talk to me, my girl.
Yes,
talk to me
yes,
now. Talk to me now.
Yes.
Talk to me now.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, well,
because you said it didn't make sense. That's what you were saying before.
No.
300 years, Pastor Sunday, it doesn't make sense.
No, I always say that to him, and it's only today that I've just have yeah, I never been. Yeah.
My very assistant. The very present help in future. I mean, the very present help in time of she doesn't even agree or understand what I mean by 300 years. She doesn't even believe in it. But now I was blind.
Yes, I can see.
Now I
can
see. Justina Akimboni says, it seems Pastor Sunday has poured himself to the people around him. It's like divine infection. You are a great mentor. I feel like relocating from UK to Ukraine. Yeah, but Mayowa also relocated from UK to Ukraine. And that's why, but I'm not just duplicating myself in the people here, though. If you've been following Kingdom Fruits, you will discover that people who don't live in Ukraine also have been duplicated. You know, I'm duplicating myself in them as well. Okay, Emmanuel, there is a lot in the future. Blessed ideas untapped. Thank you, Pastor Sunday. Mayowa had a Rema word today. So good. As Kate said that. Giovanni Dori said, even me, now I can see. Everybody is becoming busy. Everybody's eyes are becoming visible now. I mean, they are opening. Reverend Rosalind said, future is the ultimate. We need to understand the importance of future so that we can focus on the power of creativity and innovation. Yeah, I have that book, The Creative and Innovative Power of a Genius. There's a whole book, in that regard. So you can go get it. It's on Amazon. Apostle Robert says, life starts tomorrow. Is that what we call the book? Yeah. Tunde, no, not your life. We didn't say your. Life starts tomorrow. Tunde Disu said, but will that topic not only seem like procrastinating? Well, they have to read the book. That's why they have to read the book. Somebody says, Alexander Vondaruk is saying, what about calling it drawing by the future? But that is for artistic people who have, yeah. I think life starts tomorrow. Is Busa Yomi said, the future you are yet to discover. That's too long. Life starts tomorrow. Yeah, I think life starts tomorrow is excellent. Life starts tomorrow. Okay. Okay, Jide Craig say, by the way, you are so right. DSA, we are now saying in a creation of 20 years ago, we are now saying it's a creation. Oh, what we are now saying is a creation of 20 years ago, yeah. What you are now saying, DSA, do? You know, that was finished maybe 20 years ago, yeah. 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 years ago. But what I'm doing right now, it's not for today. Apostle Robert says, we are creators made in the image and likeness of the Creator. And Marie says, we have left faith thinking, the church had left the faith thinking, that's why Jesus was saying, when I come, will I still find faith on the earth? Yeah, because people will just be carried away by religion and think they are serving God. But they don't know that they actually please God, because nobody can please God. Without faith, nobody can please God. Or what did they say? Yeah? Yeah, so nobody can please God without living like this. Only people who live like this at the end of the day please God. So when God says, will I find faith? He's saying, will I still find people who will be living for the future? That's what they say. Or will you all just be living for the church activities? So the church had left faith thinking the future, I'm leaving the future to atheists, Hindus, Buddhists, Taoists to put out major discoveries. While we play church and miracles, I have been given a blueprint to faith and life by this teaching. Thank you. That's Anne-Marie. Abraham Haruna says, our greatest enemy is our last success. Yeah. Amonike, we must always live for the future. Ufo, I love your point, Mayowa. Jide Craig, this message shows that one has been living backwards. Yeah, backwards, that's a good way. By trying to stay motivated without seeing the future. Yeah, that's what motivational speakers do. They try to motivate you for some things without really making you see that future. This is clearly what leads to frustration and depression. When we can't see any longer, we have been acting so that we could see as if we were seeing rather than allowing. Yeah, I can't see any further. Reverend Roslyn says, I'm on fire, not just empowered, but ready to fly and take over the arena of my assignment. Beautiful. Abraham said, the innovators are those who see the future, right? Apostle Robert, my God, how much I wish having you, how I wish I'd had you at my wedding. God makes Abraham to see the future concerning his seed. Yes, we can see beyond the visible. Monica says, I remember when I was a little girl, I used to dream of becoming a great artist, not just gospel artist. I would be in front of mirror, use newspaper as my mic, and always sing beautifully. But I was so discouraged by my background because no one wanted me to become a singer, you say. Anne-Marie, thank you, DSA, for this truth. It is sad that the church makes us think it is wrong to do meditation, dream, and do projection into the future. practicing sourcing energy from the future, people, they say, are demonic practices. Can you believe it? Even Jesus, because of the thing that he said before him, that's the future right there. So Jesus was practicing demonic. Come on. Come on. This is what DSA just broke down right now. How can we live in faith when we have been limited to living and thinking dogma and doctrines? Beautiful. Because it talks about faith, love, faith, and hope. This is hope. Ufoma said, yes, Pastor Derek, for the joy set before us, you see, that is Jesus. We have to be like Christ and see into the future. Julius says, yeah, Deuteronomy 1:6 says, we have dwelt too long on this mountain. Turn and take your journey. Yeah, look into the future. Don't live in the present. Tom says, all things shall pass away. All things shall become new. The future is always new. Beautiful. Princess Adetola says, I have started reading books to become a leader one day because readers are leaders. Beautiful. Uriyomi said, this message is an antidepressant indeed. Ada Love said, there is no more room for depression when you are energized for and from the future by faith. Right. Jumi said, as a consultant, 3 out of 10 people in my practice come for depression treatment. Alexander Bondaruk said, the truth is that not your past nor your present will push you to win all the battles. Yes. But the future you could see by faith will supernaturally draw you, empower you with powerful energy. Beautifully said. That is the designer for all my books. All those books you are saying, that's the designer right there, Alex. Ori Yomi said, there is hope in my future now. Yep. Oyinlola said, so true. God gives same ideas, inspiration to various people. That's concerning what Pastor Irene. If you don't do anything about it, you'll be surprised to see another person produce the fruit of it. Tom says, most of the parables of Jesus actually address the future. Wow, that's interesting. Linus says, when DSA was speaking, I was thinking, why have I been living like a biomass? I have been existing and not been living by the invisible world. I have to live from now in the future. Yeah. Most people are like that. Most people are just living like in the past and in the present. Ernest Ebong says, 8 years ago in my city, is in Germany, I was so disgusted when I saw that they started constructing a new underground train system. I was so angry because of the traffic and blockage everywhere. I was asking myself, what are these government people doing? Can't these people leave the city alone? It's good now, the way it is now. It's running well. But after all, the trains and the buses are running okay, perfectly well. But after 8 years, now I'm thanking them for doing that. You see, if one believer live by faith, if I don't acknowledge it, all of us, we cannot avoid the kingdom laws. We all live by the kingdom rules. Linus, God saw by the redemption of the earth, when he saw the redemption of the earth, when he sent his son to the earth, He saw the invisible before he created the earth even. Beautiful. Uriyomi said, this message is a hope restorer. It has restored hope to me. Tom says, DSA is willing to go to Nigeria because it can see another Nigeria, a great future for the country. Yep. Like I said, that's like, it's not the main. That's just like the risk. Ufoma said, my encounter with DSA helped me to reconnect with my childhood dream and desire it placed in my heart. I am now reconnected to that. I am surprised also at how I could suddenly see into the future and see what I will be doing in the next 10, 20 years. Before I connected with DSA, I couldn't even see the next year. God bless you, my dear mentor. Much love. She can automatically see. Because she doesn't miss any day. She's always here every day. So it's understandable. Tom says, our future is so critical. When people cannot see hope in the future, they become frustrated and depressed. Yeah. G.D. Craig said, this message is stretching us to outside the box of religion. Abraham says, by faith, Abraham Haruna, by faith the elders obtained good report. You see? Even though they died not saying it, but they got it. By faith they got it. Dear said, now I see that it is that faith that made you to go against all odds and you are still standing. Yep. Trees, keys, peas, music. Say, yep. Millions of reasons not to follow our painted dreams. Our only reason to follow and live through is our faith. Thank you, DSA. Jake says, I now understand why Jesus was always talking about the rich. Most of them were trusting in their riches. They were living in the past. That is profound. And when you are trusting your riches, you are left in the past. Tom says, okay, I got it now. Your energy comes from the future. Yeah. Olukayode said, in like manner, time heals when we experience a tragedy and it feels like the world has ended, but after a short while, we move on in hope for a replacement of that loss. The future comes and erases the past. Faith is the currency of heaven. Yep. Tom said, DSA is a visionary leader. His mind is so active. Well, Harmonica says, so I planned, what will I be doing in the next 10 years? In the next 10 years, will I depend on pension? No way. So I'm making efforts now to live for the future. So I'm trying very hard to detach myself from things that I used to think are important to me. That's why I now do more of my purpose, fulfill up my purpose on earth by contributing my own quota before my end comes. Linus, I haven't heard anyone in this world who is living 300 years ahead. I feel like crying that I've just started my path. Rochelle White says, wow, now I see why people turn to alcohol and drugs, because they are only living for the past, in the past. Kai P's music says, Abraham, David, and the rest of the prophets also saw this projection. the future. They could not participate in it. It does not matter anymore because they had seen it. The only thing that matters is that they documented the future that they saw and it's accurate. Simply because that's the truth. Jesus is the truth. No other way. Yep. Barack Collins says, everything comes to a standstill in your life when you live by the empirical present. Yep. Tom says, great nations do great things because they see the future and walk ahead for it. Rochelle White says, get your eyes off today and situation around you, otherwise you will never overcome it, for it's only temporal. Look to see with eyes of faith, to see books written and products produced to benefit humanity. Yeah. Jake says, I now fully understand that it is deadly to be attached to things or to put your trust in any possession. Yeah. Yemi Okwa says, God bless you, rich the man of God. Great truth and the author and finisher of our faith and believe is no other person than Jesus. Yep. Lionel said, this message is so important to me. I really needed it in such a time as this. Thank you. I'm inspired and fired up. Monica said, due to hearing you every day, I have decided to be planning myself ahead. Though it might not be up to 100 years yet, but at least 15 to 30 years now, I plan now. Because I am growing old every day, so I'm planning towards the future. Thanks, DSA, for the teaching. Well, you see, we are all changing. Disu Tunde Disu said, thank you, sir, for this clarity and understanding of the topic of faith. Most of the teachings on faith have been about studying the word, believe the word, confess the word, and then you will see something will happen. But this dimension of seeing and reaching into the future, in my opinion, makes walking and living by faith more tangible and attainable. Thank you, sir. Oh my God, Shioma says, I need to start living for 25 years ahead. Then I will expand it from there. That's DSA for waking us up with this teaching. Apostle Robert, thanks DSA, more grace, more truth in the name of Jesus. Becky Suyi said, thank you, sir, for this wonderful teaching. You have just made me to think more about my future. I used to think about the future, that the future will take care of itself. But now that now I know I have to create it by myself. Tom said, life is about vision. The human mind is so powerful. If channeled well, it can produce great results. Lionel says, if you are not living by faith, you are just existing. Merlin says, wow, DSA has just dissected the truth or reality and made it so easy to understand. Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, or is it tomorrow? We are starting our HMT for trainers. Tuesday. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye. Yeah. Voila. Rochelle White, what a miracle you are. What a wonder you are. Here she is again, leading the pack. You've led the pack yet another time. Wow. Well, we're happy to see you. Welcome. I think we need to open that. It's getting hot already. Isaiah Taylor, welcome. Good evening. Mesongen Kome. Good evening. Mesongen Kome. That should be South Africa. I was just telling another South African queen here in my house that I've been living in South Africa for the past 1 week. Gloria Val, Theophilus Muiwa, Yetunde Omoile, Denise. Denise is South African too. Fumi Adewusi Bamishaye, Victor Shinwe. Well, welcome everyone. As you are coming in, please, won't you go and share the message for us? Go and share the link, please. Go share the link. Go share the link as you are coming in. And you people know that this week we are starting an HMT for trainers, so that you could do like Pastor Derek is doing. Use HMT as an instrument to change the world. That's what Professor Anibogu is doing in Africa too, using HMT to change the world, using HMT as an instrument to affect your world. Ufoma Anigoro, welcome. Natalia Kalida, nice to see you. Okay, just about to start, Party Part. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Samson Adogbeji, welcome. Okay, Justin Mayo, welcome. All right, here we go. Innocent Magaji, welcome back. Yes, I was with you 30 minutes ago, and here I am again. James Sanka, Jokel Dukoya, yep. Ojekwa Israel. Okay, I'm finishing this series on what truth is not. I'm finishing the series on what truth is not. You remember I told you 4 things already that truth is not, that the truth is not, that truth is not, what truth is not. 4 things. Number 1, truth is not something that works. The fact that things work doesn't mean it is true. It is true, that is why it works. Number 2, the truth is not what feels good. The truth is not what feels good. That is number 2 thing you need to know about the truth. Number 3, truth is not whatever you want it to be. Truth is not whatever you want it to be. Truth is not relative. That is what it means. Number 4 that I gave you yesterday is that truth is not just what we perceive with our senses, with our 5 senses. Now, let me elaborate a little bit more, just a little bit more before I go ahead. If you view the world, if your mindset is such that it is working, it must be God, then you are not a believer. You are not a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, actually. If you believe that because this thing is working, then it is God, then you belong in a new school, in another school, philosophical school that is called pragmatism. You are just a pragmatist. I'm a pragmatist too, but that is not that's my approach to life, but that's not my philosophy of life. It is not my belief system. My belief system is that I believe in the truth, that God is truth, and I believe in the fundamental and absolutism of the truth. For example, let me tell you a few things about the fact that it is not, that you cannot just base your truth on the fact that it works. Do you know that there is a lady that used to come here on this platform? She used to go to a famous preacher in Nigeria that we all know, but that is generally regarded in Nigeria as an occultic ministry because it has a lot of miracles. But these Europeans, this Susanna used to go. She went to Nigeria from Hungary, where she belongs, and a lot of Europeans will go to this particular ministry in Nigeria and condone it. You know their main argument? We saw miracles. I saw it with my own eyes. It works. So, but the truth is, the fact that you see things work doesn't really certify it. It's not truth. It's not just what works. Because sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. A lot of approaches like that in Nigeria. When I began to teach in my country, not from here, I was writing on MMM. There was a craze all over my country about, a financial scheme that was called MMM. And each time I would write an article, you know what my people would tell me? My people would tell me, but they're paying us now. What's your problem? They will even tell me, they have a proverb, they will tell me, a saying, they tell me in our local language, and say, why should you take Panadol or whatever for another person's headache? Okay, I never heard that when I was in Nigeria, so that's a new thing. But so they say, don't bother yourself, it's by money, not by your money. So now that everything is lost, that is the way lie is. It will work for some time, but it will not always work. For example, in my country too, people say they pray that their enemies should fall down and die, and they are praying for deliverance, and they are praying for protection and breakthrough and things like that. So I was preaching here, and some of my disciples in Nigeria were telling their pastors that it's a waste of time. You don't need to waste all your time praying that people should fall down and die and others. They said, in Nigeria, that's the only thing that works. So they said for some Pastor Sunday, it's because he's in Europe. That's why he doesn't, pay too much attention to Satan. If he had been here, there is no other way. That's the only way things work in Nigeria. But that's not truth. So that is those things people are calling truth. There is not truth. It's pragmatism. Or, for example, people say all these offerings and abuse of money, prophet offering, faith offering, give and it shall be given unto you, Luke 6:38. Even though those things don't have anything to do with Bible, it's not scriptural, but in my country they say it works. So once it works, it means it's God. So that is what I'm saying. So that is not the truth. That is a misrepresentation of God, because God is truth. So when you misrepresent truth, you misrepresent God. So when my people say, another thing my people say in my country is that if it's difficult, if your path is difficult, if what you are about to do, your project or whatever thing you are engaging in is tough, they say it's not the will of God. It means God is not blessing it. If it's difficult, it's not God. If it has to be easy, like pushing drug and making money from drug sales, that's easy. Or 419, that's easy. Yeah, so those are the things that bring about those kind of crimes and those kind of practices. So that's about that one. So our country and our society and church has replaced the truth. They have replaced the truth of God, truth of the scripture, which is truth, absolutism of the truth. They have replaced it with what works, which is pragmatism. So that is idolatry in the church right there without even knowing. We didn't even pay attention to it, that there has been a replacement. Just because things work. If you want to find out the biggest church in my country today, it is those churches where it works, where the man of God says it and it happens. And now most of those pastors now are coming out to confess that maybe they have buried a human being under the church, or maybe they have entered into some covenants. Why they are having all those signs? Because it's not just enough that it works. That is not truth. And the truth will expose everything, because there is nothing we can do against the truth, only for the truth. So that is pragmatism. So that is idolatry, idolatry and paganism that has happened in the church. We are now worshiping not the truth, but pragmatism, without even knowing the difference. My people don't even know the difference. between pragmatism and truth. Okay, another thing, that is number one. Yeah? The first thing that is not truth. If it works, it's not truth yet. It has to be truth. That's why it works. So number two thing that is not truth is not what feels good or even what feels bad. Truth is not what feels good or even what feels bad. Truth is not just in feeling, because feelings could be different. That's why God didn't do the same miracles the same way in the Bible twice. Amen. He did many miracles, but he never repeated his method 2 times or too many times in doing one particular miracle, because that's what we like. We want it to be predictable, and God knows that if he had done it that way, we would just say, we figure God out. That's the way we always work. But it doesn't work like that. So the fact that you are feeling that it worked like the last time, it's going to work this time, no, it doesn't follow. That's what feeling does for you. Feeling brings you to a place whereby you believe in it because it has worked one time. But that's not the truth. The fact that you feel it's right is not the truth. Now, it could be right sometimes, but it's not always right. So we believe that God has given us feelings. Feelings are from God, but we don't take it as absolute truth. All right? Now, intuition also could be used by God. God could use feelings and intuitions, but so we are not denying feelings. We are not saying feelings are wrong. You have to have feelings. God could even use feelings, okay? God could use your intuition, but don't just count on it as the absolute truth. If you begin to do that, you will miss it, because counting on truth or equating truth to feelings, you know what that is called? That is called mysticism. So in mysticism, they will see sign. They will say, "Oh, you see, I have a feeling this thing is supposed to happen. This is so. There is a sign. You have to. If you do this thing will happen. If you do that, they can predict their God." But we cannot predict our God. God can come anyway. So that is mysticism. And so any people that is just basing their faith on their feelings, either good or bad, that is mysticism. That is not God. Or subjectivism. That's just me. Because you feel that way and I feel this way. It's just subjectivism, but it's not truth. Truth is not what feels good. And it's not even feeling at all. Okay, so the fact that you go to that church and you feel good in that church. Some people say, I feel good here. I feel good here. Well, that doesn't mean it's truth, my dear. Ooh, the anointing that, goosebumps. That doesn't make it true. That doesn't make it true. Ooh, the anointing that was there in the hall. Ooh, the goosebumps that I felt. If you go to some cinema, you will feel the same, I tell you. Or some discotheque, or some nightclubs will give you the same goosebumps, okay? So feeling is not truth. Feeling is not truth. But there are a lot of preachers in Christianity today that build their whole teaching and their whole dramatization of church life on feelings. So they want to get you inspired to clap every minute. So the amount of claps and ovations they can get during the 1 hour preaching that determines how anointed they were. Nothing is far from the truth. That's the fallacy that has invaded the church these days. So they will get you to scream and just emotionally wind up. And it depends on how much emotion we could get that determines the truth. No, it doesn't. Sometimes it could be true, but we don't say it is truth. We don't count that to be the absolute truth, because sometimes emotions could be right. And you go to cults. Ooh, they have ovations too. They have people clapping as well. So it doesn't always follow. We've got to come back to the fundamentals before we could discover what truth is. It's not just because it feels good or it doesn't feel good. Now, number 3, truth is not whatever you want it to be, which means truth is not relative. You know the theory of relativism, and the way it is being manifested in the West now is that people say, everybody have their own truth, and everybody has his own truth, and it's relative. So you could think this is iPad, and I could think, no, it's not iPad. It's, I don't know, it's a bird. Everybody has his own truth. It's relative. Well, you know what? You know, I've proved it. If you miss these teachings, go and find the teachings. I've proved it that nobody really believes in those things. The only you believe in relativism as long as it is profitable to them. But at the end of the day, nobody believes in relativism. We all believe in the truth. The truth will pick everybody out. And so the same thing too we have in church. The same thing we have in church. Every church now has its own truth. Some people say, okay, it's your own opinion. When you show them the Bible, they will go and find another scripture, you know, from the Old Testament most of the time, and say that, yeah, we also have a scripture. So everybody have their, so it's relativism has replaced the truth in this church. So everybody has his own opinion. Every church you go to has their own truth. Every church you go to has their own opinion. Every church has its own revelation. we were talking about a Ghanaian pastor the other day. I mean, he put his leg on the stomach of the pregnant woman and pushing it like that. He said, you know, that's what God told him. That's his own truth right there. Then another day, he came to the church and came with a cane and was beating a young girl who was even pregnant. A pregnant girl was beating her. I think maybe she was not pregnant, but anyway, a young girl was beating her right there on the pulpit, on the altar. And the boy was beating the boy too, but he was beating the girl even more. But I think he was afraid that the guy could get mad and return some of those jests. Some of the kindness could be returned. So he was careful with the boy. But he was beating the girl mercilessly, you see. So everybody has his own truth and nobody is talking. So when they interviewed the big men in Ghana and they said, why are you people not talking? Oh, they said, oh, we don't interfere in the affair. Ah, okay. So everybody is free to have their own truth. Because the truth has been massacred. Same in Nigeria, nobody talks. Everybody say, oh, everybody, relativism has replaced the truth right now in the church. That's why I did that series on the plague of silence, so that we will all learn to stand for what is right. So that was not true. What is not true? What truth is not? What truth is not? Number 3. Then yesterday I finished by talking about what truth is not, that truth is not in your 5 senses. Yeah, it's good. We use our 5 senses. God gave them to us. We thank God for them, but they are limited. So they are not absolute truth. And they don't determine absolute truth because they only make us to interact with the physical world. They don't make us to interact even with the intellectual world. Talk less of the spirit world. So, and that is where people are always, scientists are always talking about empirical evidences. But we are not practicing empiricism. We are not practicing empiricism because practicing empiricism, that is another school of thought. That is philosophy. That is not Christ. But Christ is the truth. So that's where we finished yesterday. And for you to listen to each one of those teachings, you must, go and listen to the whole series. It's on my YouTube now, Sunday Adelaja Official. Go to homepage and follow the series. This is going to be the last series that's going on there. So, but today, what truth is not? What truth is not? This is very popular. And this one, all nations are being run on this theory, on this ideology, which is not truth. And it's not the truth. It could work, it could be a blessing, just like every other thing I've said. They could all work. God gave all of them to us, but they are not the truth. They are not truth. They don't determine the truth. They could be used, temporarily, but they don't represent the truth. So the point today is truth is not what the majority believe. Truth is not what the majority believe. Truth is not what the majority believes. That is to say, truth is not democracy. All right? Truth is not democracy. Truth does not campaign and it does not go for elections. So truth doesn't need to be voted for. But even though whole nations and the rest of the world were embracing votes and democracy as the only way out. But democracy is, has its own fault as well, and its own inadequacies, and democracy is not always right too. And the rule of the majority is not always, like for example in America now, the whole country is divided into 2. The fact that Donald Trump won didn't really mean that he had most votes, because some people said that Hillary Clinton actually had more votes, popular votes. So more people, majority, actually voted for Hillary Clinton by 3 million votes, but she never became the president. So your majority is not always right. And the fact that even Trump became the president doesn't mean that the whole country is supporting him too. So that I mean, they are fighting against him every day. But even besides that, all over the world, people are selling democracy. They are saying you are not democratic, but the majority is not always right. Majority is not always right. For example, one of the most terrible examples of that was Hitler. You know, Hitler it didn't come through coup d'etat. Hitler didn't come to power through gun and military power. Hitler was elected. There's a German girl here with us, no offense, but the people themselves voted for this man. So the fact that they voted for him and he became the ruler of the country doesn't make that majority to be right. And so when people make a big fuse and talk about democracy today, Africa, you are not democratic. The fact that you even have democracy doesn't mean that you are doing the right thing. So Hitler was elected. And even in Russia, this Bolshevik communist regime that ruled Russia for 70 years, they call them Bolsheviki. You know what Bolsheviki means in Russia? Yeah, they call them Bolsheviki. Bolsheviki means the majority. Bolsheviki means majority. So they were the majority out of all the political forces that were vying for that position. But the fact that they are majority doesn't make them. Look what they did. It was a massacre. It was a rule of terror. It was genocide just behind Hitler. So majority is not always right. Like, for example, right now in America, it's sad what is happening in that country, because from what I see, it's like the whole country, almost majority of the states now support gay marriage or something like that. I think it's majority. And even Obama had the Supreme Court to make it a law. So a lot of things that people do, even though they are the majority, in fact, they make not just gay to be allowed in America, they even started pressing and charging other countries and putting political pressure on them to do the same thing. And almost all Western countries started following after America immediately. Anything America does, all Western countries begin to do the same thing. So the fact that they are the majority or the richest country, majority doesn't represent truth. Majority is not always right, and majority does not always represent the truth. Let me tell you another story about majority, where majority was wrong. Our Lord Jesus Christ, there was an opportunity to release him. Pilate wanted to release him. And he said, okay, you choose. He was telling the Jews, that he told them, you choose who I should release to you. Should I release Jesus Christ of Nazareth, or should I release the other man who is a criminal, Barabbas? They used to call that one Barabbas. In Luke chapter 23, it's from verse 13 to 19. You know what the people said? Majority. I mean, he was counting vote. And majority, they didn't even vote. They were screaming, give us Barabbas, give us Barabbas. And, he said, but this one is an innocent man. He said, but I don't see any fault in him. The majority carried the vote. And we know it's the will of God. But that's just an example for you to know that the majority is not always right. It's not always right. Let me give you another example of a situation where majority was not right. Do you know the old world, the old civilized world, used to think, especially the church used to think like this, used to think that the earth is the center of the world, and that the universe is rotating. We are the center. They are the whole universe is the one rotating around us. We are so big. But Galileo Galilei came forward with his theory, because he's a scientist. He had to prove it. He came forward and proved that no, we are actually small. We are not as big as we thought we were. And we are not as significant. I mean, compared to the universe, we are nothing. And that it is we who are rolling. They were saying, we are not feeling anything. Where are we rolling? Nothing is rolling. You know what they said? They said, for saying that, they said, we give you 2 months to recount. You have to denounce your scientific. You are saying you must deny science. And science, is science. 2 plus 2 is 4. They said, no, you must deny that it's not 4. He said, after that, he said, this is proven. He said, no, because according to the Bible, they were using the Bible. Because they would believe in creation. So, they sentenced the guy. They sentenced the guy. Sad. He died in solitary confinement for the rest of his life. I think it was for 25 years or something. Everybody believed that they did the right thing. The majority is not always right. There is another man they call Michael Servetus. Michael Servetus. Michael Servetus. I don't know if you have heard about it, but medical students should have heard about it. Because he's the one that is credited with discovering pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation. He's the one that is credited for discovering it. Now, he was condemned for discovering that for all the scientific something was evidences he was proving first of all by the Catholic Church, condemned him and said they sentenced him to die. So he ran from, thank God, he was living during the time of Reformation. Martin Luther, John Calvin, he was living that time. So he ran from Italy to Geneva because in Italy the Catholics were in charge, but they were in charge politically. But in Geneva, it was the Protestants that were there. So he ran to Geneva to hide under the Protestants, believing that the Protestants would protect him. You know who eventually sentenced him? The Protestants sentenced him and ordered that he would be burnt on the stake. This man was arrested, tortured, and burned at the stake. Fire, petrol, for discovering what is benefiting all of us today. You know who did this? The reformers. The most progressive people of that time. You know who signed the paper? John Calvin. This is how vicious religion could be. So today now, a lot of people are speaking the truth. That's why I'm not intimidated. I'm not fazed at all by the fact that I'm speaking the truth. And everybody is attacking me. All the big churches, all the big movements are thinking that I've gone into error. That I'm in error. But that's what they at least now they are not killing me, they are just shouting. But in those days, they were killing them for real. And because they so much believe that those guys were in error. But guess what? The people they killed, 200 years passed, 300 years passed. But they were truth will always vindicate you. There is nothing we can all do against the truth, only for the truth. Truth vindicated Galileo Galilei. Truth vindicated Michael Servetus. Truth, so that's what I'm saying, that the majority might be right for now, but truth will be right eventually. Truth, always stand on the side of truth, my brothers and sisters. Always choose the path of truth. Even if you need to give your life for it, always choose the path of truth. Don't even look at majority at all. So people will tell me, okay, why, if you are so right, why is it that nobody else is saying the same thing? I don't care why. I am on the side of truth. That's what matters. And one person on the side of truth is a majority. I am already in the majority before God. Because if God is for you, it doesn't matter who is against you. If God is on your side, I'm already majority. Even if you have 7 billion on your side. But me and God, we are majority together. We are more than you. So don't ever bother yourself about majority decisions or about majority opinion or about public opinion. Forget about public opinion. Forget about what majority people are thinking. So, another thing people are telling me is that, Pastor Sunday, why do you think that you know this thing and all our fathers? You know the fathers? You know how many big churches they have, how many people following them? These fathers that have been serving God all these years, how could we say they are wrong? How can the fathers be wrong? No, fathers cannot be wrong. I don't care, fathers or mother or grandfather. Or, if it is, I know this is the truth. I don't care who is on the other side. As long as I know this is the truth, I stand on it. Let me be the only one standing. Because one on the side of truth is a victor. One on the side of truth is a winner. You will win any battle if you're on the side of truth. So I would just like you all to please realize and come to the conclusion that majority and all those kinds of talk, they will never sway you. That the only thing that will sway you is the position of truth. Find out where the truth is and align yourself with the truth. Yeah, it might not be in my lifetime, but sooner or later, all these my ideas, all these my theses, all these my books, all these my writings, all of them will be celebrated worldwide. I'm in a good company. The people, my contemporaries who had gone before me, but I call them my contemporaries, they've suffered the same thing. They were all rejected. In fact, there is nobody that is truly great that is totally, acknowledged and celebrated in their lifetime. They will always, because why? If you understand everything I'm saying in my lifetime, it means we're in the same position. But that's what makes the great great. They see before all others see. They go forward before all others come and catch up. All others will still come and catch up because truth will come and catch up. Truth will catch up with them. That's what makes a great leader great. He sees before others sees. He goes before others. So don't you ever bother yourself that you are not in the majority. Don't you ever think that you don't have millions in your church. Don't you ever think that you are just only one talking like that. Just make sure you are on the side of truth. Because one on the side of truth is a majority as well. Just like one on the side of God is a majority. So like the story of Galileo Galilei should encourage you. The story of Michael Servetus should encourage you. The story of even civil rights movement in America should encourage you. You know, there was a time that majority of the American society and the Western society supported slave trade. And those who said slave trade were wrong were regarded as savages. They were humiliated. They were embarrassed. They were beaten. They were shamed. Now, even the very descendants and children and grandchildren of those people who supported it, they are now ashamed. Well, I remember when I was in Tennessee, in America, they were telling me they would, even though this place, they used to have old slaves. And that, but they said they would rather have me as a black African man to live in their town, in their village, than have the northerners. People come from New York and other places like that. they still hate them also today, almost 200 years has passed after war. After the war. They still hate them up to now. So they said, but I said, let's stop. We are Christians, huh? Because they are Christians. I said, so let's face it. So all of them had started telling me, you know, America, they like to tell stories. They were telling me stories. Oh, my grandfather fought in the something. We were in the army of the general something who was the general of the Confederation. Oh, I have the Confederation flag. Oh, they were giving me the medal. This is the medal, the Confederation. You know, all of them were just telling their stories and they were, you know, bragging on it. Oh, this one say, oh, we had the farm, we had the plantation. So I was saying, but this man was fighting that there will be no slaves. I said, let's just talk now. You know, I'm not politically correct. So me, I'm from Africa. I don't know the word political correct. So just tell me what you feel now, what you now feel. Because all of you are saying you had 30 slaves here, we have 100 slaves here, we have 200 slaves. So you all know. So what do you now think about that? Even that war that you are talking about, that they were not fair to us, even though we lost the war, but we don't agree. So I said, what do you now think about it? They said, well, we never think about that. We don't, we just move on. It's okay. So I said, no, you just tell me from your heart. I want you to, because people are avoiding, that's the problem. You remember the levels of truth that we went through? 5 levels of truth. The first level of truth, people are trying to avoid it. They don't want to look in the mirror. So I tell them, you look in the, just look in the mirror. Look, just look at it and say, I am this. They said they are so embarrassed to even imagine that I'm the grandson or grandchild of somebody who was selling human being. Oh, he's gone. I said, no. I said, since I'm the guest speaker and I'm the big man, I'm the man of God they invited. They were expecting me. So I told them to do what. So they started coming out and they started saying that we can't understand it. Even their own children now cannot support them. They said, we cannot understand it. They said, we are even ashamed. We don't want to talk about it. Even though we are proud of our heritage and grandparents, but we should also understand. So other ones came and said, oh, it's because of the time. It was the time like that. Time everybody believed majority. You say, people like majority. So that's why I'm saying, don't do things that your children will be ashamed of you again later on. Don't be talking about majority. Don't just do things because people are doing it. Stand for truth. Stand for what is right at any time. And don't be ashamed of standing, even dying for what is right. Can you imagine that up till even the 40s, even the 50s, in some states in America, you cannot marry, you cannot even date a white person. Hey, what is there? You cannot even date. Why am I talking about date? You cannot even enter the same bus. If you enter the same bus, you must go and sit at the back. You cannot even sit itself. No seat for you. You cannot even go to the same restroom. So, and majority, I'm not saying some one person or 2 person. This majority were supporting this. So majority, I'm not moved. Let the whole majority say all these things I say are wrong. But the truth will overtake them, and the truth will show forth. So don't change your positions just because it's majority. Truth is always truth. Always find out where the truth is and stand on the side of truth. Now, let me tell you another very pathetic story. This one you'll not believe it. In 1844, a medical doctor named Ignaz Philipp Semmelweis, who was assistant director at the Vienna Maternity Hospital, suggested to the doctors, this was 1844, that the high rate of death, I'm sure you've heard the story, of patients and new babies was due to the fact that the doctors attending them were carrying infections from the diseased and dead people whom they had previously touched. There were just few doctors those days and nurses. So Semmelweis ordered doctors to wash their hands with soap and water and rinse them in a strong chemical before examining other patients. He tried all through his life to get doctors convinced about his findings. And so that the doctors will be, if they cannot do chemicals, at least let them wear white, clean gloves or clothes in their hands. He battled this for the rest of his life and he failed. The whole country revolted against the troublemaker. And the medical science rejected him. The medical practice. They ostracized the man. Because he said you should be using gloves. Today they will remove his license. And say he cannot practice. However, the majority disagreed with Semmelweis. And they deliberately disobeyed his orders. In the late 19th century, 100 years later, on the basis of the findings, so he started writing, he documented his findings and died. Just like I'm doing now. Make you not take me, make you not accept them. Me, I'm good, I got the right. I will die, somebody will find it, will discover what I've written. So they discovered his work and started doing research. And then the man that discovered his work is called Joseph Lister. Joseph Lister. So he began soaking surgery instruments, the operating table, his hands, and the patients with carbolic acid to wash them. The results were astonishing. What was previously risky surgery now became routine. Success. However, still, the majority of the councils of doctors and science of that time rejected it. Even though he was more successful, they ostracized him. Criticized his work also. Today, we know the truth. You don't even need to, even if you are not a medical doctor or nurse, if you just go to the hospital, they want you to wear something to do something. Why? Because we know the truth. 200 years people were fighting for this. To them it was elementary because they went ahead of their time. So majority, you know what majority is. Majority is not always right. Majority is not always right. Sterilization, what they call it. Sterilization is what they call it now, yeah. So now sterilization is just like elementary everywhere. Elementary. Wash your hands. What's difficult there? But because it's not the way we have always been doing it. People always want to do things the way they've always been doing it. Now, wow. God forbid. So these are just a lot of evidences and a lot of examples I could bring to you today. But I thought I should read that one to you. Of course, the story of Pilate. Then Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, said to them, "You have brought this man to me as one who misleads the people. And indeed, having examined him in your presence, I have found no fault in this man." Can you imagine? He said he didn't even find fault concerning those things of which you have accused him. No, neither did Herod, for I sent you back to him. And indeed, nothing deserving of death has been done by him. So we should release him. Either release him, for it was necessary for him to be released, to release one of them at the feast. And they all cried out at once, saying, "Away with this man, release to us Barabbas, who had been thrown into prison for a certain rebellion made in the city and for murder." So they released the murderer. And they crucified my Lord. That's majority for you. So majority is not always, the majority is not truth. Majority is not what, truth is not what majority believes. Truth is not always in the majority. It could be true sometimes on the side of majority, but it's not like a panacea that is always, no. Sometimes, yes, majority could be right, but not all the time. You remember the story of Samuel and Saul, right? When he waited for so many days and Samuel didn't come, the people started pushing him and said, majority told him, do the sacrifice yourself. What's the difference? You are the king now. So when Samuel showed up, the prophet, I said, what did you do? But I said, you should wait. He said, well, I waited for so very long and you didn't come. He said, but I told you not to do anything before I come. He said, yeah, but the people pushed me. I said, okay, since the people push you and these people you are listening to, he said, the throne has been taken from you. So the majority is not always right. Even Israel itself, look at Israel. God said, I am going to be your Lord, the God over you. I'm the king over you. I'm going to be your king. I'm going to be your king. You are going to be a special people. I am going to be your Lord and your king. You are not going to be like other nations where they have kings that are chosen by men. When the people got tired of God, and they demanded, no, we are tired of you. No, let's just be like other men. Just majority. This man of God, Samuel, cried and wept and appealed to them. Please, this is God you are rejecting. They said, but what's the difference? But other people, you see other people, they have kings now. So why should we be worse? We also want like other people. Just let us be like other people. The majority influenced them to want to be, and the majority also voted here that they want to be on the side of majority. And we know what happened. Israel collapsed. Out of 12 tribes, only 2 left. Total catastrophe. In fact, they were dispersed all over the world. None of them was left there. Palestinians took over their land. Horrible consequences. Just because people follow majority. You all remember the story of Caleb and Joshua. Out of how many of them? Out of 12. Only 2 said, no, we are standing for the truth, even if it's not convenient. And the majority, 10 out of 12, they said, no, we cannot cope. We cannot stand against those people. They have 6 feet and they have 6 fingers and they are giants and they are this and that. So if you look at your opposition and you are using it to measure your destiny and your destination, you will always make the same mistake. Never look at the number of people on the side of your opponent. That's the lesson God taught Gideon. I don't save by many or by little. The only thing is that I'm there. If I'm there, either you are many or you are little, and you are already a winner. But if you are going to look at the numbers, you will always miss it. You will always miss it. You remember the story in, I think it's in Galatians chapter 2, when Paul rebuked Peter. Because when Peter will see the Jews were there, many, plenty, he will begin to behave like the Jews. And he would not like to associate himself with the Gentiles. Because of majority, you see. Majority influence a lot of us. Public opinion influence a lot of us. A lot of us depend on public opinion. Even Apostle Peter had to fall under that. He fell under that deception. That, people, the majority of the people are here now. So he said, okay, he doesn't recognize the Gentiles. So Paul had to confront him and said, no, if you are the father, you are a leader, how could you be doing that? Even if we are in the minority, let's die in the minority. But the truth will speak for us. So that's the lesson for all of us. That a lot of people here now who are here, in fact, somebody even wrote me yesterday and said, I can't find any normal church in my city, so I just manage one. Because I don't want to be alone. Okay, this one is not as bad as the other one. But it's also bad. Because each time I'm coming down from there, I'm crying. So I said, if you are crying, after coming out of there, why are you still going there? He said, well, you don't forsake assembly. I said, what assembly? Do you have a wife? He said, yes. You have friends who are Christians. He said, is that not assembly, no? The one you are doing here on Facebook, is that not assembly? Why should you compromise? Why should you compromise your faith, your belief, the truth, and you are suffering? You are like Lot. That's what Lot did. Lot compromised. He knew that the people there were living a wrong lifestyle. But just let me just manage. At least there is economic survival here. So why should you compromise the truth because majority? So a lot of people who are watching us on this DSA something, they are all saying we cannot listen to other people again. So, but they are going there to still compromise their soul, their heart, because of majority of the people. Truth is not easy, but it's the way to live. Is the only way. It's the only way to live. So, yeah. I think that's what I would like to. That's where I would like to, because I would like people who are here. If anybody wants to share, to feel free to come and share today, because this is a problem that affects all of us. Public opinion. My family. What will my family say? What will my friends say? Criticism, attacks from friends, from relatives. Family could reject you. Other things like that. But one on the side of truth is always a majority. So tomorrow, I will be starting another series that's going to be called, should I do that right now? I think now I've told you what truth is not. I think tomorrow I'm going to begin to talk about another series, what is truth? What truth is not, we have discovered that. So after, I think it's logical. After finishing what truth is not, I think it's now good to do what truth is. Yeah, what truth is. But this is different from what is the truth. I'm still going to do what is the truth. But what truth is what I will start tomorrow. What truth is, okay? Yeah, I think I might need the rest of the week to deal with that one. What truth is. Maybe it might go to next week, actually. What truth is. Okay, does anybody want to... yeah, by the way, all of you that are watching, I want you to be free. Feel free to share your thoughts about this public opinion thing and majority syndrome that is killing everybody everywhere. Everybody wants to align with majority. Everybody just wants to be in the crowd. We don't want to stand alone. We don't like standing alone. It's like we're kind of embarrassed or ashamed or fearful that we cannot stand alone. We cannot stand against the public, against the crowd. So please go and share the message. Go and share the link. And if there is anybody that don't let me do what I did yesterday. So before I beg all of you to stand for the rest of the night, make you come take your place. So. Okay, Jeff decided to deliver his friends.
Wow. Once again, it's been an awesome night hearing about the truth, and this just basically reinforces who we are as believers, tells us more about what we're supposed to be doing, who we are as believers. The truth is expensive. The price of the truth is expensive. The Lord Jesus Christ, when he died, didn't die a death that was fair. He died because he stood for the truth. He died because he stepped on toes. He died because he spoke out. He died because of his convictions. He died because he refused to conform. He died because he refused to follow the status quo. He died because of his revelations. He died because of what he knew was right. He died because he was the salt of the earth. And the minute you begin to stand for the truth, you have made yourself the salt of the earth, because it's a rarity to find people that will stand for the truth. It's easy to be quiet. It's easy to be silent. It's easy to go with the crowd. It's easy to just do what everybody does. And when you begin to stand for the truth, sometimes you begin to question yourself, am I even doing the right thing? Am I following the right channel? Am I even doing what I'm supposed to be? Because your results will be challenging. Your paths will be rough. And nobody says standing for the truth will be easy, but standing for the truth is what we have been appointed to do. Standing for the truth is what we have been called to do. Standing for the truth is what we have been ordained to do. Standing for the truth is what we have been elected to do. Standing for the truth is what we have been called out to do. We've been called out of the world so that we can stand for the truth. So that everything about us will be for the truth. We can stand for the voice of the needy. We can stand for the voice of the voiceless. We can stand in gap for those who are fatherless. You know, standing for the truth is all that we have been called to do, and that is what ministry is all about. And it's shocking to think about the fact that you go to some churches and they'll tell you we are not a charity organization. It just shows you they have no clue what the gospel is. And it's the ignorance is so alarming that they would even come online and tell you the church is not a charity organization. You should go and preach the gospel. And they'll be so bold to tell you to go and preach the gospel. And I'm like, what exactly is the gospel? If you can't stand for the oppressed, if you can't stand in the gap for the bruised, if you're walking past the road and you see somebody wounded and you just pass because you have to be in church, you have to start the service, you have to do the opening prayer, and then you see somebody who's wounded and you walk past. There's one of the things that have really touched me, you know, growing up is men who beat their wives in public. And I see that video online a lot. You see these men will pound on their wives and beat and beat and beat and beat, and you see other men will stand right there because they think that this man has a legal authority to brutalize these women, to beat them mercilessly. Sometimes they beat these women up to the point where these women just collapse, and yet somebody is holding a camera looking at injustice. Because we refuse to stand for the truth, because we are so afraid of death, we are so afraid of terror, we are so afraid of standing for the weak, we are so afraid of standing for the oppressed. And I challenge you, if you are a man and you stand there and watch another man beat a woman so much that she collapses, you should take your own life. You do not deserve to be alive. You're not a man.
Yes, I've seen that on YouTube, I mean on Facebook. It is true. Oh Lord, have mercy. Have mercy, Jesus.
I watched one, I just could not take it anymore. And men were standing right there. And this man, this fool of a man, this ignoramus of a man, descended on his wife in public, and men stood and watched. And the man kept beating this woman, and the woman was begging for her life. She cried and cried and cried, and the man kept pounding away. And then he went and brought a big stick and kept hitting her until she slumped.
I saw it. It's horrible.
And men stood and watched. Because you assume that he is his husband, and because of the legality of the fact that he's a husband, he has a right to kill and take another life. To hell with that covenant of marriage. I will personally take it up, and I will put you in jail. I will come after you with everything I have. If I ever walk past you and see you beat another human being like that, you are more than a devil. You have no right to take a life. All she did was to tell you she loved you. Her crime was to tell you she would stay with you. Her crime was to tell you that she would be your wife. Her crime was loving you. Her crime was the fact that she said she will marry you. Now you take her life.
Have mercy, Jesus. Have mercy, Lord.
We need to stand for the truth.
Jesus.
Public opinion, and then you stand there just because nobody has acted. You stand and you kept watching until somebody's life is taken. And I was watching, reading another statistics this morning in the United States. The majority of death to women were caused by men. intimate lovers. The legality to kill her was because you were intimately in love with her at one time in her life. And then she told you she's no longer interested, and you have no guts to move on with your life. Jesus. You are such a coward. You cannot move on. You have to kill her. And the statistics shows that majority of the women that were killed, even in the West, were killed by their lovers.
Even in the West. My God.
Her crime was loving Jesus. At one time in her life. Her crime was looking at you and saying, you are worthy of being my lover. One way or the other. That was her crime. She opened that gate. Now it legalizes her death.
Have mercy, Lord Jesus. Have mercy, Jesus! Because silence is an agreement.
And the statistics is growing every day. Men just assume that it's okay to kill her. Because well, she cannot defend herself. And then I saw another video. This man beat his wife so much, she almost lost her eyes. Then her brothers, about 7 of them. I'm not sure if you guys saw that video. No. Her brothers descended on the man.
That's good.
And they brought a plank. And he was crying like a little girl. He cried like a little rat. They beat him and he was crying for his life. And then, you know, the man said, look, we have men in her. She has men in her home. You cannot beat her that way. If you don't want her, let her go. He was crying like a little girl. I'm like, I thought you're supposed to keep quiet and take it like a man. Feel the pain that you inflicted on her. Go pick on somebody your own size. Let's all stand for the truth, because when I hear these things, it just boils in my spirit. And my hairs, I cannot stand it, seeing that injustice happen. The legality you have over her, I will break it myself, and I will take on the consequences. Because you took, how much did you pay in dowry? That gives you the capacity and ability, and the right and the audacity to take a life. That you cannot make one hair on a woman's hair, let alone take her life. And if you go to Nigeria, it's even worse, because people will even stand by, and when she goes to the police, they're supposed to help her. They say, go back to your husband's house. Because there is no truth. Even the police cannot administer justice. Because there is a culture that has come to be accepted, that is okay to kill somebody.
A culture that is not based on truth.
It's not based on truth. We need to rise up and begin to speak. If we want to make this earth to be like heaven on the earth, we need to expunge that behavior. We cannot take this anymore. We need to speak for the truth. Only then are we preaching the gospel. How do you preach the gospel? I kept saying, stop preaching and start ministering. Start ministering. Stop preaching. It is this preaching that has destroyed the body of Christ. We lack exegesis of truth and revelatory exposes, and so much grammar and sentiments, and dressing in coats and Bibles and pulpits and all the show of shame. And we sit every Sunday after Sunday under the pulpit of shame to listen to the same thing all over again. It's time we do the gospel and stop preaching. The preaching is no longer working. It's time to do.
Amen.
Stand for the oppressed. Give voice to the voiceless. You don't need the Bible to know the truth, because the truth is engraved upon the hearts of every man. There is a dispensation that they didn't have the Bible, yet they knew the truth. There was a dispensation that they have the book of John, yet they walked with God, and they were not, because God took them. How can you walk with God without a Bible? Enoch walked with God, he didn't have a Bible. How can you walk with God without a Bible? Because the Spirit of God is immersed in your spirit, and you can connect with Him.
First Christians didn't have the Bible.
The disciples didn't have a Bible. Jesus didn't have a Bible. Daniel didn't have a Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't have the Bible. Abraham didn't have the Bible. Yet he knew God. Joseph didn't have a Bible to read in jail, yet he stood for righteousness.
Yes.
And he spoke. And he knew the laws of God in his spirit, the laws of forgiveness. That's not taught. That's engraved in our spirits. And we can identify with the truth. You don't need the Bible to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's religion.
Yeah.
You bring the Bible and the suits and all this paraphernalia and the stage and all that show of shame, and then you come and think that is what God is after. God is after your spirit and is not interested in that gathering of fools.
Yeah.
Majority is not always right. Thank you.
Wow. Who is the next person, please? Make you come.
I know what's that.
You don't spoil the bucket. He has destroyed the stage.
Yeah.
He has scattered the place.
Nobody can speak after Jeff. But Jeff is sad.
You don't scatter the bucket.
Pastor Jeff.
Respect.
Or whatever title you want to give yourself, Apostle Jeff. Oh my goodness. But something he just said now just caught me. You know, he really expressed it the way that I couldn't have. All those people didn't have the Bible.
That's right.
But they know the truth. They knew what they were supposed to do. And that reminded me of a conversation I was having with, I think it was with Maiwa recently, that we were saying, okay, what of those people that never heard the word of the Lord, or those that died those years? What would be their own judgment plate or whatever?
Parameter.
Yeah, which parameter would they be judged on? Is the conscience. Which means whenever I post something on Facebook, and you are asking me, where is it written on the Bible? In the Bible, where is the scripture to support this? This is just a sign of you being cunning. This is just a sign of wanting to use something to confirm the atrocity that you do.
It's lack of love for the truth.
Yes, lack of love for the truth, Dr. Sandra Adelaja said. Because we know exactly what is going on. We know the evil that is on the table that all of us see with our beautiful eyes, but we deny it. We are looking for a Bible verse to cover up our sins. You meet in the same Bible that God is merciful, and in the other verse we see he's a consuming fire. I always use this instance because you can't just pick up a line in the Bible and use it to cover what you are doing.
Yes.
It's not saying that the Bible contradicts itself, but we are so selfish and so gone wrong in our ways that we always look for something to cover whatever that we think that we are right or that we are doing right. The fact that we contradict ourselves with the Bible or interpret the Bible the way that we want does not mean that the Bible is not the truth. But the matter is, the thing that I said lately that is my religion is that verse that says, blessed are those pure in heart, for they will see God. Yes. It didn't say blessed are Christians that are pure in heart or Muslims that are pure in heart. Blessed are those pure in heart, for they shall see God. Most of you know that my I lost a relative recently, and somebody mistakenly wrote there, rest in peace in Kiro Jimosh. At first I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. But later I'm like, it's a reminder. I can lie down and I won't wake up. What is my confidence? What is my guarantee that I will make it to see that God? It's not by the way I preach or the way I shout or the way I say where it's written on in the Bible, where it's not written in the Bible. It's the cleanliness of my heart. Yes. If my heart is clean, I will see him. Even if I speak in in tongues for, I don't know, since I was 3. And every morning I speak in tongues for 5 hours, go to the church, you know, that I used to do, you know my story. You know, serving in the church from morning till night, sing in the choir, serve the pastor, give my tithe, even double of my tithe, my first fruit. If I don't have a pure heart, Nikki, you're going to hell. You will not see God.
You will not see God. We are the ones that complicate our lives. We are the ones that complicate the gospel. The gospel is 1 and 2. The gospel is as clear as it is written. The gospel is, you see somebody that is hungry, you feed him. The gospel is, you see somebody that is moody, you encourage him with his word. And not just start, to tell the person that he is wearing a short skirt, the shoulder is open, that you always tell me on this platform. I'm sorry for that, that's not my topic. But see, you go out of topic to preach your doctrines. We all do. I had my own doctrines too. I'm not accusing anybody here, but the foundation should be the truth.
Yes.
The example that Dr. Sunday gave recently, that can you imagine if in your city everybody knows that the foundation is not just knowing, but acting on that truth? If they give you money to go and build a road, you use exactly how much you're giving to build the road. Can you imagine the roads that we will have will last for ages? In my city, I'm sorry, I'm using my city always as an example. They make road this summer, winter, all the ice has taken away the road, Contract has been signed, money has been taken. Lack of truth. Most of us also, all of us, no. We call ourselves Christians, But most of us, the papers that we have, where are they from? It's from one leg to the other. We don't even know not formally. We lack the truth. And we have called all those lies to be normal. It's done like that, so the majority does it, so why not me? The majority get married, why not me? The majority give birth to children, why not me? Without laying the foundation.
That's right.
Without knowing, okay, I have these children, what do I do now with those children? How do I bring them up? Do I really need them? Won't they disturb me from my purpose? Because we have known that getting married and everything is not your purpose. Marriage is sweet. I have the best man in this whole world, I always say. It's on that platform. But that is not your purpose. That is not my happiness. And that shouldn't be yours. That is why you see most single ladies today, more than 40, they are suffering because of what the society has imposed on them. That they are single, so they are not married, so they are half a human being. Who told you that lie?
Yeah. It's a lie.
And I repeat that was one of the reasons I gave my kingdom fruits just as a lady. Forget my surname, though I have the same surname with my husband, but I'm a lady. I represent you, the single and the married. You are a woman and you can do anything. I don't care how old you are, 85 years old.
That's true.
Single, you are still powerful. The day you wake up, we had a review on the book too this evening. You can regain those lost years by just waking up and start doing something. And the more the first day you bring out that first fruit, you will be as if you're falling into heaven. The first day I published my first book, I'm like, God, you can take me. Just like giving birth to a baby. I'm missing the topic. We are going back to the truth, okay? Let the foundation of everything that we do be the truth. And it's actually the knowledge of the truth that will make you to try to, bring out those kingdom fruits, because you want to be true to the one that created you. Jungle Justice. I just heard of Jungle Justice recently that is still on. It's a story I heard when I was small. I was shocked to see all these things still happening in our Africa. And people video and take pictures and put it on Facebook just because somebody stole, I don't know what. And churches are around also there. Watch, it's not our business. We are doing morning devotion. And we that are the Christians, that are supposed to be the light of the earth and the salt and every other thing to sweeten this earth, we are busy playing church. Yes. We are busy playing our doctrine. My church didn't say, don't go to that church, don't talk to that person, wear short dress, wear long dress, cover your head, don't wear wig, they will punish you in hell if you wear wig, all kinds of rubbish. Especially we Africans, whenever we say, we were talking about going to heaven yesterday, whenever we go to heaven, we are seeing devil, I don't know where we sit. when Jesus is punishing somebody, we always come back with bad news. I wonder which heaven we go to.
The lower of it.
If we ever did. But the fact is not even about going to heaven, because yesterday we were talking about this. I'm like, in the Bible it is written that as soon as you receive the Lord Jesus Christ, you have made your way to eternal life. Yeah. So which heaven are you waiting to go to? Your heaven starts here when you know the truth, and that Lord Jesus Christ is the truth. He himself said he is the truth. So even if somebody didn't say, I believe in Jesus Christ, but he stands on the truth, he has believed in him. But religious correctness has made us to, lift up your hand. I believe in Jesus, and you go back and continue in your sin. When you meet Jesus, you say, I did not know you, Because by our fruits, which is the truth, he will recognize us and he will know us. So let's quit playing church. Let's quit playing just doctrines, my church, my religion. Let's start standing on the truth, which is God himself. The truth is God. In everywhere that we are, everywhere that we find ourselves, let us be recognized as people of integrity. Let us be recognized as people that stand for the truth. Not just our own truth, but the truth. The truth, not a truth. And that way we can change everything around us. Let's start infecting people with the truth. You see the lie that is going on in your city, stand up and speak against it without being afraid of anything. But we keep on covering each other, It's our brother and our sister until he enters your house. Until a pastor rapes your child. I wonder what you will do. My ears were full, we are filled up with stories yesterday about how pastors just keep young ladies and just make love to them anyhow, come out to the pulpit and preach, impregnate them, do abortion for them, then later find husband for them. I mean, real truth. I mean, real stories. Not they say, or I read somewhere. And you say we should not talk about these stories. You say we should not talk about these things because we have to protect the church. Which church? I'm confused. What is the church now? Which church are we talking about? Are we protecting a structure, an organization, or we are protecting the Church of Jesus Christ? They are two different things or three different things. Because if we know the truth and we do not speak about it, we are evil ourselves. We have failed. We don't walk in the truth. I also read recently of a testimony of somebody that said, you should leave all these pastors alone, even if they're committing evil. There's one pastor there, he did something, and recently he died in a terrible accident. So are you not the one that killed that pastor?
Yeah, silence.
Because you did not expose his deals. Maybe if he spoke up, maybe he would have given his life back to God. But you were waiting for God to kill him, and you're giving this as a testimony. I don't even know how to describe this. You kept quiet for God to kill him. The reason, personally for me, that I expose the evil that I see that most of us, women and men of God, commit is at least let them hear and repent of those sins. At least let that pastor be saved of what he's doing. Then you ask me, Nikki, are you sure you're saved? We are all running, this race. If you see me committing one thing that you know will lead me to destruction, please, write it on Facebook, write that evil. There is this woman in our city that is committing some atrocity. And that if I see it and I have a conscience, I have to change. If I have the Spirit of God in me, that we all say that we do, I have to change. Then if I don't change, it's my own palaver then to die like that pastor. But if you see somebody that is heading to hell, you're preaching to every unbeliever that they shouldn't go to hell. And your pastor is heading to hell with the congregation and you're quiet. It's a family affair. You're sending him to hell. So let's wake up, Christians. We made this mess of the truth that is supposed to be the truth, and have brought in our own everything that we call the truth, all kind of nonsense into this world. We are the ones to correct them. And that is why we are speaking against all this evil. And we are the ones, the church, to correct all the nonsense that we've been doing through the years. All the lies that we have been allowing in our lives and the lives of our children. We are the ones to correct them in this lifetime. And I thank God so much that we have a voice.
Some people say God will do it. God will not come down from
God will not do. God has given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. He made the earth and said, it is good, and signed. So he threw it up to you to continue the ruling. He will not come down. That is why he made you and me. If he needed to come down, he didn't need you and me on this earth, even to make us. So it's a lie to say it's God, though, only God can change the earth. What a miss, Only God can change Nigeria. What a miss. God, not only God. He is the pillar, but we are his hands and legs to do his work on earth. And the earlier we start, the better. Who is next? So, my brothers and sisters, let's wake up. Oh, there is fire on the mountain. And let the sons and daughters arise to put up that fire. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So I one thing that I put my focus on was the democracy part, because I have always asked myself how or why democracy requires for a president or an elected person to change the regime after a few years, after 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is. Because I realize now that democracy really is built on distrust, is built on relativism, and is built on fear. Because we cannot trust a person fully. We cannot trust man fully. And if we already make precautions, to change a regime because we cannot trust a person fully, for me, it is the ultimate sign of lack of truth. Because what if someone is based on truth, is leading people based on truth, and has to be changed just because the Constitution says so? Why would we not decide these things that concern a whole nation? Why would we not make these decisions based on truth? So I was just really, it just struck me really, because when I think of democracy, and I think that you're being elected, because there are many advantages and disadvantages for democracy, but one of the things that I hear and I've heard is that when you're elected, you feel like you have an obligation of serving the people, and you want to, give back, and you want to express your gratefulness by serving the people. But what if you're not elected? Does that mean that you're not going to serve the people? Does that mean that your obligation is not to the people? Are you not going to do anything to serve the nation, to advance? So it's like we are making this position exclusive to truth, even though it's not even based on truth, So for me, it was just very, it gave me an answer to the questions that I had, because the form of democracy that I see, especially when it comes to America, is just not based on truth. And it really is, to me, it is black and white. You can see it clearly, because if truth is constant, then the people, the democracy should also be constant. Like you have to have a society that is based on truth, and you cannot have it if you base your decisions on quantity instead of quality. Because to me, when you have a mass and you have people who elect a person and who's supposed to lead a society, and you base it because the majority says so, and not because you have people who are based on truth, who lead people because they have a sense of morality, they're responsible, they are, sane and they're educated, they're well prepared, to me, it's just a formula for failure. So I'm just pondering on this really, because there are so many things that I see in society that I don't agree with, especially because we have a democracy and people try to deny God, they try to deny truth, even though they themselves have built a system, that is not going to give them the constant, it's not going to give them the truth that they're seeking. So I really have to ponder upon this, because this goes very deep into my heart, and there's so many things that I got to create my own YouTube channel, because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about truth. I want to talk about the things we deny ourselves in our society, because we are not even aware of the fact that we're living outside of the truth. So we're trying to change. We're trying to always fill these holes that are there, but we're trying to fill them without truth. So that's just, my take on this. And I'm very grateful for that.
Danke. Danke, that's her language. That means thank you.